Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've had some storms move through the area this morning, and there's a lot of ponding on the roadways. Be careful this morning as you travel. We do have heavy thunderstorms for those early morning drivers, and Stefano DiPietro tells us that we should just get used to it.
It's certainly a good idea to have the umbrella, all the rain gear you can ready the next couple of days, because we'll have multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms, and that severe weather risk, or that strong thunderstorm risk, if you will, does continue. Heavier rainfall still going to take center stage, but we did have a couple of thunderstorms yesterday and even overnight last night that produced some gusty winds as well.
Now, the threat of tornadoes or hail remains very low. We've got 86 degrees for a high for today. Two men are facing charges after dressing up in costumes and robbing someone on Broadway. This happened around 4:45 Sunday morning. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Metro Police telling us that Xavier Rhodes was wearing a gorilla suit at the time when he put someone in a headlock. Another man, Sherrod Robinson right here, was wearing a Hawaiian shirt, punched and then kicked this guy. They stole his shoes and then ran off.
And police tracked him down on the pedestrian bridge. They've been charged. Car buyers are not going for fully electric vehicles anymore, and a federal tax credit for EVs is expiring. So automakers in Tennessee are slowing down electric vehicle production and laying off workers. Buyers are not confident they can find a charging station when they need one, and there have been reports of garage fires started while cars are charging at home. The Tennessean reports many automakers, like Ford, are pivoting now to hybrids instead. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Michelle Franzen.
Stocks surging to start the week, with the S&P notching a new record high Monday after a big boost from NVIDIA, after the computer chip maker announced a new $100 billion investment with open AI and data centers. The Dow Jones closed up 66 points ahead. The Nasdaq also gaining 157 to round out the day. Looking to join the ranks of Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, Pfizer looks to jump back into obesity treatments by purchasing 4.9 billion shares on the development stage drug maker Metsera, which are currently working on a possible range of weight loss medications. Earlier this year, Pfizer ended development of their own once-daily pill before it started late-stage testing. Officials from Spirit Airlines announced they will furlough more than 18,000 flight attendants by December 1st as they struggle to cut costs ahead of their second bankruptcy in less than a year. Those removals will come just weeks before the start of the busy holiday travel season. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Right now, stock futures are mixed. We've got Dow futures plus 57, but NASDAQ futures up 6 points. S&P futures are down just a fraction. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, after the heavy rains, there's a lot of ponding water on the roadways this morning, so it may take you extra time to travel, and the storms will continue to move through, so it may cause some big delays this morning traveling. You do have delays on 40 if you're heading eastbound around the airport area and for a few miles afterward. That just looks like heavy volume. No problems on the other major roadways. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in to a Tuesday. I think they said today is supposed to be the rapture, Joe, and I'm surprised you're here.
Wait.
Did you hear that?
Did you? You have to tell the story about how you told me the rapture was coming.
Oh, did I tell you the rapture was coming?
Yes.
That was by
yesterday
text
in the
message,
text
wasn't
messages,
it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. I did. I totally had Joan.
Oh, I was, yeah. I thought,
you'll love this. I'm going to do this real quick.
Yeah. I'm getting the text messages.
And then we'll get to the content.
Okay.
So here it is. I text Joan yesterday, 4:09 p.m. Hey, Joan, I've really enjoyed working with you.
And at this point, I'm like, what?
Now realize I'm putting time in between the text messages to get Joan's curiosity up. But apparently, today was it.
Now I'm going, oh my gosh, they fired him.
So then, I had those inflammatory remarks about Candace Owens.
I was about to say, that was a great thing to use.
So then I send a screenshot of the Daily Mail, and the screenshot is all the biblical signs pointing to the rapture coming tomorrow. As believers spread fears the end is nigh. So all over the place, there are people, I guess, talking about how today is supposed to be the rapture. So then I texted Joan, the rapture happens tomorrow, so we're all going to heaven. Is that what happens? So I had Joan totally believing that I had gotten fired. But the reality is that we're all apparently going to be going up to heaven because the rapture is today.
I saw somewhere it could also be tomorrow, the 24th. Very loose on the dates.
Okay, so here's the deal. So does that mean I got to prep for a show tomorrow or not? Because if we're all going to heaven tomorrow, then I'm not going to produce a show.
Hey, only the good ones go to heaven.
Wow. Oh, did you hear that? Joan's really proud of herself for that.
But on my end, I'm sitting here going, you wouldn't want to have a show prepared when you meet your Lord and Savior? I'm just saying.
He's
no,
expecting
because
a show.
no matter what I do, Jesus is going to tell me it was a good show. Jesus, was my last show a good one? And he'll say, yes, Dan, sure.
Yeah, but he's like purely honest. So
listen, in every aspect of heaven I've ever thought of, every show is a rockin' show.
Get them out. Throw them out into the cold. Don't give them their coat.
No,
no coat.
Where Jesus is gonna throw me, it's not cold. It's really hot.
You think he's going to say, like, when you say, was that a really good show? Jesus will say, well done, good and faithful servant, about your show?
No, he'll probably say, well, Dan.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, Dan, we're going to... Hour
Dan,
2, segment 3 kind of sucked. And by the way, it's not even worthy of heaven. Out you go. No coat.
No coat.
Well, Dan, did that go how you thought it was going to go?
Can you imagine getting air checked by Jesus? Oh, my Lord. Usually I'm the one saying, oh, Jesus, when they call me down for the air check.
Which, by the way, you shouldn't do.
Are you telling me from a biblical standpoint?
That's using his name in vain.
I don't know.
No, that's me asking
for his
him
presence.
That's exactly right. I'm asking for his presence. You go down the hall to see the boss. He thinks he's Jesus. Of course, we all know that. But no, I'm asking for actual Jesus because I need his love and protection when I go in to talk about the things that I said about Candace Owens yesterday, which apparently upset a few people. So then Joan texts me back and she says, holy crap, you just gave me a heart attack. Then I said, LOL, see what I did there? Getting fired humor never gets old in radio, is what I said.
Because it happens so often.
Yeah. It is just so common, so real. I'd be willing to believe it. Thank you, Joan, for your
confidence in you.
Confidence in me that I could get
Dan.
fired at any moment. And then I said, rapture or getting fired? LOL. Anyway, moving right along. So I don't. Everybody's thinking the rapture is happening today or tomorrow.
Did you see one of the signs that people are talking about?
No.
There's 5 comets headed towards Earth. 4 horsemen and Jesus. That's what people are saying. I thought you might have been playing on that a little bit with Joan. Just a little bit. No, I didn't read that far down into the article, to be honest with you. But you know what? Those comets you said heading towards Earth, are they going to hit Earth? Because if they're going to hit Earth, I'd like them to do it before my next meeting with the program director, as he's getting calls about the whole Candace Owens thing yesterday.
Can one please land on Ilhan Omar?
It was not
you know what?
Christian, Joan.
I know. Yeah,
you're telling me, I shouldn't use the Lord's name in vain, but you want a comet to land on Ilhan Omar's head. You know what the funny thing is, though? If I've only got one comet, I've got Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and AOC, Brandon Johnson. Locally, we've got Afton Bain, we've got the 2 Justins, and we got Mayor O'Connell. So if I've only got one comet, maybe that should be our daily Dan poll. If you only had one
Oh, yes.
If you only had one comet,
I love it.
Which knucklehead on the left would you like it to land on? You've only got one.
Yeah.
And you can't have it splinter into like 15 different comets so that you can hit them all at once.
Hold on. You know what needs to happen? Like President Trump did when they took out all the Iranian leaders. Get them all into a meeting together. And then land the comet in one place.
Kind of like Soul Survivor kind of a thing?
Yeah,
Lone Survivor kind of a thing?
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We could do that. How do we get all the Democrats, though, in one place so that they could be hit by a comet? By the way, I'm glossing over the fact that apparently there's 4 comets heading towards Earth.
They're all coming at different times. Not simultaneously. But they're all on a path that some won't hit.
Well, yeah, but they're not going to hit Earth, right? I mean, I think I would have
They'll be very visible, but, for all we know, those comets are the 4 horsemen's horses, and they're going to get off the horses at some point.
You ever see Greenland?
Okay, so...
The movie Greenland?
No.
Oh, Greenland is about just that. Comets that hit Earth. A big comet, breaks off and splinters, and then it hits Earth. It's an amazing movie, actually.
So Google's AI, says there are not 4 comets currently headed directly for Earth, but there are several known comets and asteroids making close approaches to Earth's vicinity in late 2025 and early 2026.
Fake news, Rutherford.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to start calling you, man. Fake news, Rutherford.
I'm calling out 9398 on the text line for that one.
Oh, you're taking a text?
Wow. You know
really?
what? No. What are you, a Democrat? You're not willing to take responsibility for your actions?
I got some information. I looked at it, and then I placated it on the fact that people are freaking out about the rapture.
You'll notice, Joan.
He needs better sourcing.
It's called media manipulation.
You'll notice, though, here's the great thing. You'll notice, though, that Sam originally did not credit a super texter.
Exactly.
Yes.
I gave no credit to anyone.
So he took credit for the bad information. So you own it, young man.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll own it. But okay. I got you.
You got me. You didn't get me. Did he get me? No.
No.
If you have
Definitely
to ask.
Joe, did he get me? I don't know if he did or not. All right, we got to move on. Whatever. Anyway, all right, very good. By the way, the rapture may or may not be happening today. If the rapture does happen, I do know that one person will still be here on Earth. And we'll talk about that coming up next. 5:15, time to check the roads on WTN.
We do have ponding on the roadways, and I'm seeing that there are some big delays on 24 heading westbound around the Manchester area. That's where Some of those showers, thunderstorms, heavy thunderstorms, actually have centered themselves right now all the way up 24 to around the Laverne area, around the Murfreesboro area. It looks like that's where it's very slow still this morning. And that just may be because of the heavy thunderstorms. Traffic's moving slower, which you need to do. Otherwise, on the major roadways, looking pretty good. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Cloudy, humid with a couple of showers today. Thunderstorm, gusty winds and small hail can accompany any thunderstorm today. What did you say, high of 80? I've got a high of 81. Joan, what high do you have?
Well, the National Weather Service says 86.
All right, so I've got a high of, let's go with a high of 80.
Let's go in between.
Mid-80s, high in the mid-80s.
Nobody knows what's happening today. That's what I would put.
There you go. So, Jimmy Kimmel, if the rapture is today, Jimmy Kimmel will certainly be back here on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, he's got a show to do. So apparently Jimmy Kimmel is coming back. So tonight he is going to be doing his show. The question, though, is anybody actually going to be able to watch it? Because Sinclair, the local group of television stations, remember we all went through this, right?
Yep.
So Jimmy Kimmel does a show. It is syndicated. And so he does the show and it is run on local television stations. Those local stations, big group of them, Sinclair, they're saying that they're not going to run his show on the local, on their local television stations, and that's a big group. So he's going to be on the satellite, but I don't know if anybody's going to be watching. I did find it interesting, though. Everybody thought, including, by the way, yours truly, that he was going to be, fired. That's what everybody thought. But no, they are allowing him to come back. One of the things that Disney said when they announced that he was coming back is the reason that, and we've been talking about this, the reason they pulled the plug, not the FCC, was because they were afraid that he was going to add to the dangerous rhetoric and vitriol. So they thought that he was, and Daily Mail and other outlets reported this, that he was just going to double and triple down on talking about, President Trump and Charlie Kirk and MAGA and all those things that Jimmy Kimmel said. So now the question is, number one, will the stations at some point today negotiate with Disney so that he'll be on all of the different stations? By the way, here in Nashville, can you look this up? Will he be seen in Nashville? That would be my question. But
well, no, because who's Sinclair station?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Nashville.
Like, who carries Jimmy Kimmel on? We work in the lowly radio, so we have no idea.
Fox.
Yeah, so I think it would be visible on Channel 2, which is WKRN, and that's the ABC affiliate owned by Nexstar here in Nashville.
So
okay.
Nexstar is still saying that they will air them? They're not preempting?
Well, here's what Sinclair said. I'm not seeing anything about Nexstar. They say beginning Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. The company said a preemption is when the owners of an affiliate replace national programming with their own.
So Sinclair also said that it has a list of demands before it will air Jimmy Kimmel Live. And the first is that there'll be formal discussions held with ABC regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability.
Yeah.
It wants Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family and make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA.
Do you think he had to go to Human Resources and watch some videos?
I think probably not.
Yeah, I would. If they're not going to air, Nexstar says they will air Jimmy Kimmel Live as of Tuesday, September 23rd.
All right, so here
today.
in Nashville, boy, we are lucky that we get to see Jimmy Kimmel.
We're so lucky.
I'm going to critique watch it because, I mean, the guy already wanted unvaccinated people dead. He suggested that already.
Right.
So I wonder what other lows he could stoop to.
So that's going to be what's going to be really interesting is, all right, so what will Jimmy Kimmel do tonight? Will he, because if he doesn't come out flamethrowing against Donald Trump, or the MAGA crowd, as he says, well, then obviously he was spoken to. And even if he doesn't formally apologize, it does mean that he is going to back off a little bit on the whole, Donald Trump, MAGA, Nazis, and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, then, if he doesn't do that, then he's not going to have any affiliates.
Yeah.
And by the way, those same affiliates are complaining that nobody locally is buying the ads. You see, that's the problem. The problem for Jimmy Kimmel is numerous. Number one, his ratings have declined.
Yeah.
Number two, local stations are complaining about the content. Number three is that they can't sell ads. That's part of the problem with these late night shows at the local level is you have affiliates that are like, he's so vitriolic and he's so lowly rated that we can't sell mattresses or, the hardware stores or the restaurants won't buy in his program. So they can make more money with a local news program or whatever it is. They can make more money by producing local content. They've already got the news people there. And although news staffs in television, those are being cut back too. But I mean, they feel like they can make more money, doing local programming, even if it's a rerun of Family Feud, which is what they've been doing. They'll do it. And so this had nothing to do, based on Sinclair's statement, ABC's statement, at the local stations, had nothing to do with the FCC. They want Jimmy Kimmel to ease back on the vitriol and the rhetoric, and they want him to formally apologize to the Kirk family. That's why they are preempting his show. So we'll have to see so all eyes are going to be on Jimmy Kimmel. I have no interest in Jimmy Kimmel whatsoever. Trust me when I say I've never even seen an episode. But I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to seek out exactly what it is that he says.
8519 says, are we taking bets on Jimmy fake crying?
Yeah. No, if there's not some sincerity and somberness to his tone, I don't like being lied to. I don't like being, fake your way through an apology when you make $16 million a year to garner 1.77 million viewers in a country of 340 million
Isn't
people.
That crazy?
That's as much as an NFL wide receiver.
Well, and I don't want to belabor the point any more than we already have, but clearly this is a guy who doesn't deserve them. Well, okay, here's the deal. Free market. Right? I was about to say he doesn't deserve it. I don't believe that he does. However, if somebody is willing to pay him that money, then good on him. But you also got to keep the gig. Mm-hmm. And so when you go in and number one, your agent negotiates really high salary. Because I always keep this in mind. That's why I don't make an exorbitant amount of money. Because I'm always like, you know what? When they look at the spreadsheet of radio, and they see that I don't make a boatload of money, then they'll say, well, Mandis is, he's paid what he's worth and not all that much money. Anyway, whatever. So, but he goes in, he demands all this money with the low ratings that he has and the anger and vitriol. You make yourself a target. Mm-hmm. And so when people do that, when they make themselves targets, then guess what? They are going to be the first to go. So we'll have to see if... And by the way, there's so many other people that could host that show.
Right.
You know what I mean? We already talked about Nate Bargatze. There's other people that are out there that could easily do that show.
A Shane Gillis late night show. you would have 10 million people easily watching that.
Yeah, you'd have to remind me who Shane Gillis is.
Yeah, me too.
He's the comedian with the very plain face, mustache, and he does the excellent Trump impression. He hosted the ESPYs.
By the way, real quickly, Joan, people are really angry with you for threatening to drop a comment on.
I know.
Just so we're clear, Joan started it. I had nothing to do with it. It was all Joan.
I can feel the tire marks from the bus that you just threw me under.
Beep, beep. You mean the one you stepped in front of?
Mm-hmm. All right, it is.
Okay, so just it's a joke, people.
Listen, at least you didn't call her a Nazi.
That's right. That's right.
And by the way, here's the thing. The difference is we're kidding and they're not.
And they're not, yeah.
We're kidding and they're not. It is 5:25. Need some audio. Thank you. Super Talk 99.7. Joan has the news coming up at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, closing arguments today for the man accused of trying to kill President Trump. Also, why a Clarksville woman is suing her hometown. Those stories and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It's now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And the top story of the day, closing arguments and deliberations that are set to begin this morning in the trial of the man accused of trying to assassinate Donald Trump at his golf course last year.
Hearing 8 days of testimony and from 41 witnesses, a Florida jury will have to decide whether they believe Ryan Ruth intended to assassinate Donald Trump last year when he hid in the bushes of Trump's golf course with an assault rifle. Prosecutors say the evidence couldn't be clearer, with DNA tying Ruth to the weapon and multiple witnesses describing him at the scene of the crime. Ruth, who's defending himself without a lawyer, acknowledged during the trial that he might have been the person hiding in those bushes, but he argued he's a peaceful man who never intended to shoot Trump. Ruth faces the possibility of life in prison if he's convicted. From federal court in Fort Pierce, Florida, Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Happening today, President Trump is delivering a major speech at the United Nations General Assembly. Now, world leaders have convened in New York for that body's 80th session. The White House saying the president will promote the renewal of American strength, denounce globalist institutions, and lay out his vision for the world. A woman is suing the city of Clarksville over a Facebook post from the police department that accused her of fraud. Courtney Miller was picking up an Instacart order at a Kroger store, but police screenshotted the transaction and accused her of identity theft and credit card fraud. Turns out, police later found that the credit card provided by the customer had been reported as stolen.
I think all the time that this could have been anybody. Like, this wasn't, if I would have been taking a nap or, been too busy to take this order, it would have been the next person who accepted this order and been posted.
Even though the Facebook post was removed, Miller said that the damage had already been done. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather is coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, the eastbound side of 24, there's a crash reported at Sam Ridley Parkway. Now, eastbound on 40 at I-440 in West Nashville. That's a problem this morning with a crash. A car has spun out, allegedly, in Hermitage. It's on 40 westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard at the exit 221B. And then we have a super texter, 6048, that let us know that there is a crash on 65 northbound right before Bear Creek in Columbia, and that's going to cause some problems this morning as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.536 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Hey, I've got some great audio from Harry Enton. Have not listened to the whole thing. But the headline is that these are some great numbers for Republicans when it comes to the big issues. Now, remember, part of what is going on out there, the narrative with the folks on the left is that Trump and the Republicans, we're in big trouble in the midterm elections. The economy is going to trash Donald Trump, right? I mean, all of these things the mainstream media has been trying to sell to the American people. It's almost like you know what it's kind of like, Joan and Sam? It's kind of like a push poll.
Yeah.
Where you've got polls that will try to convince the American people of something, right? Well, CNN and MSNBC and a lot of these people have been doing really the same thing with their commentary saying, Trump and the economy and this, that, and the other, and he's going to be, and the Republicans are going to be in big trouble in the midterm elections because he's doing, X, Y, Z, you name it, whether it is tariffs, whether it is militarizing our cities across the country, trying to deport illegal aliens and so forth. Well, Harry Enton needs a video. Harry Enton was on CNN, and I've, again, not listened to this whole thing. But the thing I love about Harry Enton is he's just got such a flair for the dramatic.
What do you think?
Yeah, what are we seeing? Donald Trump being underwater, Democrats saying, this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7.
Yep.
Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime? A big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Look at that. Lead by 22 points.
I mean, I want you to think about this.
22 points is huge.
Yes. And the economy up 7. So when they went and they asked the American people, who do you trust more on the economy, immigration, or crime, respectively? The economy up 7, immigration, Republicans up 13, crime up 22. I think the economy and crime, those are two big issues. And I will say that, all right, there might be some indicators that the economy under Donald Trump is having some struggles, but we all remember what happened during the Biden administration. We all remember, though, the inflation rate up over 9%. We all remember that. So when you compare Trump's economy to Joe Biden's economy, there is no doubt who's got the better economy right now. And at least Trump is, again, trying to do something. And we could argue the numbers on the economy all day long. That would be really boring radio. But I'm just telling you that when you look at who is trying to do something about the economy and your economy, it's Donald Trump. All you got to do is look at the big, beautiful bill where you've got the dip craps on the left, right? You can put a hashtag on that, dip craps, because it's better than saying dip shh, which I can't say. But the people on the left who will sit here and they'll say, the economy is the big, beautiful bill. They're trying to gut Medicaid and all those kinds of things, which was not the case. But what they are doing, what the Republicans are doing, is trying to give folks a whole bunch of tax cuts, tax breaks, cutting taxes, no tax on tips. I mean, I don't want to relitigate the big, beautiful bill, but obviously I think part of what's going on is it's just a matter of trust.
And how we're not sending hundreds of billions of dollars to other foreign nations, specifically like Ukraine. We're in the middle of an inflation crisis, and what are we doing in D.C. but authorizing more money to go out the door that we don't have that is going to be burdened onto the taxpayers?
Yeah, now Donald Trump is forcing the United Nations to buy that military equipment from us, and then they give it to Ukraine, as opposed to us just giving it to Ukraine. That is a huge difference between those two.
That's after you leave $85 billion worth of equipment in the desert of Afghanistan.
That's exactly right. Here's more from Harry Enton.
So the bottom line is this. At this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues, the economy, immigration, and crime.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last took the House.
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious. And on crime, the Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22. The lead, again, expanding by nearly double digits. So
that's really interesting. So on the economy, in 2022, who did you trust? Who do you trust more? The Republicans in 2022, they were up 12. Now they're up by 7. So that trust has gone down a little bit. And I do understand that. The reason being, of course, is that Trump is really trying to force the tariffs issue. That's what the president is trying to do. Now, we'll see what the Supreme Court says. But the Republicans are still up by 7 over the Democrats. Immigration in 2022, Republicans were up by 3. Now they're up by 13. Crime, the Republicans, trust in the Republicans, they are up by 13 over the Democrats, now up by 22. So for 2 out of these 3 major issues heading into the midterm elections, immigration and crime, trust in the Republicans has gone up. It has gone down on the economy, but it's still not as bad as when Biden was in office. By the way, coming up, did you see any of the interview between Kamala Harris?
Oh, my God. And Rachel Maddow?
I didn't get to see it.
Joan.
Was it all that?
Oh, we'll discover the audio for you together because I've listened to a lot of it. I cut a lot of it up this morning. Please.
Like a car crash it couldn't look away from.
Do you know what the thing is, though? This interview with Rachel Maddow makes me really, really want Kamala Harris to run again. And what she said about Pete Buttigieg and about the decision as to who is going to be her running mate, we're going to get into all of that. Also coming up, we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom trying to demask ICE agents. We're going to get into that. We've got the whole conversation regarding President Trump, his comments on Tylenol as well. All of that and a whole lot more is coming up on Nashville's Morning News.
But whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
What's the reason that you are finding so far that's driving this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the center of the electorate, right? You win with independents, you win overall. And what do we see right here among independents? Republicans still have a point lead on the economy. They got a 10-point lead on immigration. They got a 21-point lead on crime. The bottom line is when you look at these numbers, Democrats should call their offices because at this particular point, even if Republicans or even if the public doesn't like what Donald Trump is doing, they ain't necessarily liking what Democrats are doing. And it ain't just a referendum on one party. You actually have to go out and beat that party at this particular point. Democrats are not able to beat Republicans. They still
and again,
now I want to make sure that we all caught that. Among independents, because we all know, by and large, traditionally speaking, independents are where elections are won and lost. Now, in the last election, we saw a lot of people go from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. We also saw independents, by and large, break towards Republicans and Donald Trump. And by the way, I'm going to be fascinated, and I mean really fascinated to see what the death of Charlie Kirk, what the murder of Charlie Kirk does to that electorate, because we have seen, and it's not just the death of Charlie Kirk, and I don't mean to politicize it, but at this point now, there's a lot of different angles to look at the death, the horrendous death of Charlie Kirk. I think that related, as I've been sort of documenting for you along the way, there's a lot of people that are realizing that they've been lied to about the conservative movement. I played at least, I think, 3 or 4 different videos of people, including black men, who realized that they were being lied to about what Charlie Kirk and conservatives stood for. And so I think that will also have an impact on the midterm elections. But when it comes to independence, the economy, who do you trust more? Which party? +1 for the Republicans. Immigration, +10 for the Republicans. Crime, of course, +21 for Republicans. And I think part of what this is, man, all you got to do is look around. All you've got to do is look around. Who runs the cities that are overrun by crime? I'll wait. Sam?
Yeah.
Who runs those cities? Democrats.
They're all Democrats. And it's being able to see the policies that, maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, people said this is how, the way forward to combat crime, and we need to counteract poverty, because if we lower poverty, we're going to lower crime. And then
Brandon Johnson.
People wake up and go,
"Ooh, boy,
no."
Brandon Johnson out of Chicago, of course, has a lot of dumb things to say about all of this. I'm going to try to get to that as well. They wrap up this conversation regarding who does the public trust more, Republicans or Democrats.
This isn't as Donald Trump came into office. These are numbers from this month.
These are numbers from September of 2025. We still find that the Republicans leading on all 3 of these issues. And, of course, this economy will be the key. If Democrats are going to win, they're going to have to likely win on the economy. At this particular point among independents, you see that 1-point lead for Republicans. And overall, at least according to the Washington Post, they hold a 7-point lead on the economy overall as well.
There you go.
According to the Washington Post.
I guess these are numbers from the Washington Post.
That's nuts. I don't think they will, because what I've noticed, and I think everyone started to notice, is that if you agree with any semblance of a tenet of the conservative ideology at this point, well, then you're no good to the left, and we're just going to throw you to the side.
Yeah.
And so maybe people will start to wake up to the fact that there's not really a middle ground to be had there.
No, I don't think so. And I think part of what's going to happen in the midterm elections is we'll have to see, where it all goes. I think, Joan, you're in Washington, D.C. for a long time, obviously, and you've been doing talk radio as long as I have. So I don't know. What you think this whole thing is going to hinge on the economy? What we ought to do, Sam, is we should just wait for Joan.
Just wait.
I'm not listening to you.
It's cool, man. I was here. You know what? I thought the rapture took you, Joan. I thought that's what it was. No, it's obviously you're off doing your news and all that, and that's fine, well and good. We're talking about the economy, though, and how the Republicans are more trusted amongst independents.
Yes.
And you think this whole thing is going to hinge on the economy for midterm elections?
Listen, historically, it has.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's going to have a big part of it. But we also know that during the 2016 election, one of the hugest things was the border.
Yeah.
And so there were other, yes, it's the economy, but there's other things that we are looking for. And I think the major thing right now is crime. And President Trump is working on it. He's laying down the hammer. He's really doing something about it, which is more than any other president has done in our lifetimes.
Well, and he's trying to get interest rates dropped even more. They dropped them by, 1/4 point?
Yes.
That's what they did last time. They were talking about another one coming up. So he is, as you said, he's trying to do something. All Biden, remember when they were trying to tell us that higher interest rates were good? Do you remember that whole thing?
I do.
And it's sort of like they were lying to us, and everybody knew that it was gaslighting us, trying to tell us, well, the economy is worse in other nations, and high interest rates aren't necessarily a bad thing. Inflation isn't a bad thing. All of those things that they constantly tried to tell the American people, it was actually pretty laughable.
Do you also remember when the Obama administration tried to convince everyone, and newspapers all fell for this one, that people wanted to hold 2 jobs? That was what they desired to do. Everybody wanted a full-time job and a part-time job.
And people had the opportunity to do it. Thank you. I remember joking at that time, saying, thank you, Barack Obama.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sure people are really excited to, work 9 to 5, and then at night they've got to go work at a Starbucks or something.
The gaslighting is just unbelievable.
And to Joan's point about the crime, I think the reason that's such a, I mean, that's a huge margin of what was on CNN. And I think it's because they're seeing it happen in their cities, in their streets, and they're seeing the effect of a president happen directly to them as opposed to hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's getting the response that it's getting.
And I think that the American people do understand that this president, Trump, is more empathetic and sympathetic to what is going on with our economy and your economy. When I say the economy and your economy, there's a difference. The economy has to do with the GDP and, housing starts and all of these other things. And then I talk about your economy, which is how you are doing and how much money you are able to save and how much money you are able to put in your savings, and are you able to afford, groceries, all of those things. And I think that everyone is directly impacted one way or another in a positive way to the tax cuts and that were in the big, beautiful bill. And I think that that's what people will notice most is the tax breaks within the big, beautiful bill. So anyway, we'll continue to talk about all of that and a whole lot more straight ahead. By the way, coming up at 6:38, Jonathan Fahey is going to join us, and he's going to talk to us about, and I'm going to touch on this as well, obviously, where Gavin Newsom is now trying to, of course, unmask the ICE in Los Angeles, in California. And the big question is, okay, so on what authority? Because you, as a governor, don't have the authority to tell federal authorities what to do, even if they are in the state of California. So Jonathan Fahey is going to tell us his perspective on that and a whole lot more straight ahead. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. It is 5:52 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan's got the news coming up at 6. Joan.
Yeah, we'll tell you why Borders Are Tom Homan is all over the news this morning and what he has to say about accusations that he accepted a bribe. That's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Erica Kirk, of course, impressing so many people across not only America, but the world as well. Even CNN. You want to hear something delicious, as Matt Murphy would say? Got some video. This is CNN talking about Erica Kirk and how she definitely is now a political force to be reckoned with.
She is a political force. There's no doubt about it. And she's now in a position that, her star could certainly rise here. I mean, it was indeed an astonishing tribute to her husband, and also just a planted moment of someone trying to capture the attention of everyone in this room and all around the world watching, not just about her personal pain, but about the purpose this moment of pain can serve from here on out.
There you go. CNN admitting that Erica Kirk is a political force and will be a political force to be reckoned with. By the way, Joan and Sam, we had an event scheduled for September 30th.
Oh, yeah.
That has been canceled.
Sort of.
Sort of.
It's been rescheduled.
It has been rescheduled, and you want to join Chris Hand later on today. He's got all the incredible details on what we are going to be doing coming up in the next few weeks. I am so happy that they decided to reschedule this event from September 30th to... Nope, we're going to let Chris do it.
Oh.
We're going to let Chris do it.
Why does he get all the fun?
And by we, do you mean the three of us? Because this is the first I'm hearing of it.
I don't know. Whatever. Oh, I guess you weren't on the email. But yeah, it has been rescheduled.
I was on the correction email.
and I cannot wait for this event. So Chris is going to talk about it. And so we'll have that for you coming up after 9 o'clock here on Super Talk. All right, now coming up next, we have a lot to get to. We've got Gavin Newsom, state of California, trying to tell the feds what to do with their masks. And the Fed is telling Gavin Newsom what he can do with his legislation there in California. So we got that story for you. Some of the highlights or lowlights, if you will, of what Kamala Harris had to say to Rachel Maddow. Boy, I got to tell you, this was a doozy. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. And also Donald Trump versus Tylenol. All of that and a whole lot more. Very busy news morning. Thank you for listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're at 68 degrees right now. Some of us have a little bit of light rain, some mist. It's the National Weather Service saying that we will see periods of showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today, and some of those could be heavy, and local flooding is possible. There's probably going to be some gusty winds, 40 to 60 miles per hour, but really any severe threats like tornadoes and hail, that's not a part of the storm system that's moving through today. In the news this morning, border czar Tom Homan is in the media's focus after a report that said he accepted a bribe in order to land security contracts with the federal government. The White House says that Homan never took a bag of cash containing $50,000.
Homan was allegedly caught on tape accepting a bag containing $50,000 in cash while agreeing to potentially help undercover agents obtain government contracts once Trump took office. Investigators were still working to determine whether Homan would have followed through, but the investigation was shut down by the Justice Department over the summer. Now, the White House says it was part of the weaponization of the Biden Justice Department, and the FBI says it found no credible evidence of wrongdoing.
That's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. Now, the White House also said Tom Homan has not been involved with any contract award decisions. Jimmy Kimmel gets his show back tonight.
Disney saying in a statement, last Wednesday we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday.
That's ABC's Matt Gutman. You'll remember him as the reporter who framed Charlie Kirk's alleged killer's text messages as touching. Disney, by the way, has not said that Kimmel's remarks were false. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
For a third consecutive session, the major stock indexes have closed at record highs. The Dow on Monday rose 66 points to finish at 46,381. The S&P added nearly 0.5%. Rising tech shares lifted the Nasdaq by 0.7. Boeing may be on the brink of a major deal. Bloomberg reports that Turkish President Erdogan plans to buy hundreds of airliners from the Seattle-based aerospace company and F-35 fighter jets from Lockheed Martin. Using the pay later option at checkout could soon hit your credit score. Earlier this year, FICO announced that it would start factoring buy now, pay later loans into credit scores in the fall. The agency still has offered no specific date for the switch. 4 years after being bought out of bankruptcy, Toys R Us is expanding its brick-and-mortar comeback by doubling its U.S. store count. The company plans to open 10 new flagship stores and 20 seasonal holiday shops by the end of this year. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures are little changed this morning. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a problem on 24 eastbound past Sam Ridley Parkway, exit 66. A tanker truck spun out of control. It's on top of a car right now, and they're telling us that 2 left lanes have been blocked off by this. What a mess this morning. There's a crash in Nashville on Bell Road at Mount View Road, 40 westbound under Broadway. There's a crash in the right lane is blocked off by it. That's another spin-out accident. A spin-out car in Hermitage on 40 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard East. There seems to be a pattern here. 2 left lanes are blocked off by it. 24 West in Smyrna at Almaville Road, exit 70. Watch, there's a crash in the Gore is blocked off by that one. And then we have the super texters that have been telling us that there's a problem on 65 North in Bear Creek. This may be on the bridge over the Duck River. We're hearing different stories about that, and it's not from the traffic center. So we're depending on you folks to let us know what's going on. But there is an accident, and it's causing some big delays on 65 northbound this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:08, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Like, we needed any more evidence, any more proof that Gavin Newsom wants ICE agents killed. So coming up at 6:37 or so, we're going to speak to Jonathan Fahey about just this topic from a legal standpoint. But this was Gavin Newsom yesterday. What he wants to do is he wants to unmask ICE agents. And this is what he said. I can't believe he said this, but this is what Gavin Newsom said.
I'll be signing a bill, the first in the nation, saying enough. ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
I mean, come on. What are you afraid of? Really? Just after the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk? And Gavin Newsom says, what are you afraid of? Gee, I don't know, Gavin Newsom. What the heck do you think we're afraid of? And you know the threats against law enforcement, threats against ICE agents, they are up exponentially. And so earlier in the broadcast, we were playing audio, Harry Enton. He was talking about, I love this. Harry Enton was talking about which political party is more trusted with immigration and crime. And the Democrats are losing big time on both. And the Gavin Newsom story, it dovetails right into that. What are the three big topics coming up for the midterm elections? You've got the economy, you've got crime, and you've got immigration or illegal immigration. And on those three, if you just joining us, on those three, the Republicans are by far trusted on all three of those issues, including from independents. And so when Gavin Newsom says, oh, ICE agents, I'm going to sign legislation, which, by the way, Gavin Newsom has zero authority, no authority over federal law enforcement to try to force them to take off their masks. But for him to say, oh, Mr. Tough Guy, right? What are you afraid of? It's crazy. And by the way, let's also not forget Gavin Newsom, the mask king there in California, wanted people to mask up for far, far too long. By the way, obviously, while he himself was not the ultimate in hypocrisy. But he's not calling for Antifa to be demasked or unmasked. He's not calling for the guys throwing rocks at ICE agents and ICE vehicles. He's not calling for those people to be unmasked. No, he's calling for law enforcement to be unmasked. This is ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons, and this is what he had to say about all of this. And him, like many conservatives around the country, looking at Gavin Newsom and saying, you know what, Gavin? Thank you. Thank you for playing right into, frankly, our hands. I mean, this is not what we want because we want to protect our ICE agents. But this is what Gavin Newsom and the Democrats want. And this plays right into the fact that our side of the aisle is far, and I mean far more trusted on illegal immigration or immigration and crime.
I wish the governor would lobby for legislation to help protect people of law enforcement, not just the men and women of ICE, but all law enforcement. You see FBI agents, DEA, ATF having to do the same thing because there are these groups that are out there just doxing agents all the time.
Yep.
And I really wish the governor would want to do something joint, stand with us and say, hey, we're going to protect the men and women of law enforcement. But no, he wants to go ahead and work to shield criminal illegal aliens that are causing havoc in the United States. That's what frustrates me the most.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it frustrates everybody, but this is what Gavin Newsom and the Democrats, this is what they want to do. And I'll tell you what, they're going to live or die by the protecting of illegal aliens and illegal alien gang members. So we'll speak with Jonathan Fahey about that coming up at 6:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. For those of you who are curious, you're waking up, Jimmy Kimmel will be back tonight. The question is, will anybody be watching? Because Sinclair, who is owner of a lot of the television stations that Jimmy Kimmel is on, they're saying, you know what? We are not going to carry his show unless there is a negotiation and an apology, and only if he dials down the rhetoric. So we'll continue to talk about that and cover that as well. Have some other stories I do want to get to. I don't have time. In the 7 o'clock hour is when I'll do the Donald Trump versus Tylenol story. We'll cover that at the top of the hour in the 7 o'clock here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I do want to get to a little bit of this battle going on between Keith Olbermann and Scott Jennings. I don't know. Did you guys see this?
I did. Whoa.
So Keith Olbermann, and realize Keith Olbermann is an idiot. I mean, on so many levels. And again, he is irrelevant at best. But Keith Olbermann actually tweeted or posted on the socials that Scott Jennings was next. That's right. That's what he said. Here's if you're watching us on social media, if you're watching us on YouTube, Keith Olbermann posted to Scott Jennings, "You're next, MFer." That's what Keith Olbermann said. "You're next, MFer." But keep mugging to the camera. So Keith Olbermann, I mean, here's a guy.
He took the post down, right?
He did. He took the post down.
Yeah.
As
Internet's
he should.
forever, buddy.
The internet is absolutely forever. But here's the thing, is that does anybody really care what Keith Olbermann at this point says? Because he's clearly, I think that he's right up there with some of these other folks that are just, they don't have a lot going on. And this is the only way that they can try to make themselves relevant.
See, I would counter that. I think it's not that they don't have a lot going on; it's that they're desperate for relevance, and they also are so detached from the rest of the hoi polloi in society. They just think so much of themselves that while he's probably in his car smelling his own farts, he's thinking he's gonna, I'm gonna get Scott Jennings with this tweet.
Right. Well, so then he tried to fix it. Keith Olbermann tried to fix it because he tried to bring up Jimmy Kimmel and how Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. And what Olbermann, he went back and tried to fix it and tried to talk about how, no, I was talking about, your radio show, your television career. That's what he tried to paint it as. Everybody knows, though, what Keith Olbermann was doing. They say this is from the New York Post. Olbermann appears to have been responding to a tweet from Jennings, reacting to ABC reinstating late-night host Jimmy Kimmel after he was pulled off the air for offensive comments related to conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now we get the fascists off real TV. That'd mean your career is next, Jennings. Send a tape to Real America's Voice. Olbermann posted in that thread a possible clarification to what he meant. In other words, I think that he posted it and then he realized, oh, crap. I probably shouldn't have said that. Although, you know what? If you want Keith Olbermann fired, what are you going to fire him from? You know what I mean? You're going to fire him from his mom's basement? You're going to fire him from the internet? I mean, listen, he's allowed, again, First Amendment, folks, he's allowed to say and do what he wants. And that's what he chose to do with his First Amendment. So whatever. But you can't fire him. He's already been fired from just about every, liberal network there is. And when you're kooky enough that you can't even get on MSNBC, what does that tell you about your shtick? So anyway, but there's a lot of other Democrats, a lot of other progressives who are chiming in on what Olbermann had to say. Details straight ahead, 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, cloudy and humid, a couple of showers today. Thunderstorms is possible. Gusty winds and small hail can accompany thunderstorms as well. A high of about 85 or so. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, Jasmine Crockett is out there as well. It's interesting. You had Gavin Newsom, as he was trying to unmask ICE agents, say, "What are you afraid of?" Well, let's hear what Jasmine Crockett had to say, because she was on CNN with Dana Bash. And the more that you hear Jasmine Crockett speak about Republicans and Democrats and everything that is going on these days, the more it really does seem like she wants it to be open season on the Republicans. That's what it seems like to me. And I got to tell you, the more we hear about Jasmine Crockett and the things that she says, the more she really does seem to be leaning right into hoping for another assassination. That's what it seems like to me. And I know that sounds, what's the best way to, hyperbolic? Is that what you would say? But what's that, Joan?
No, I was saying, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That
My voice isn't that deep.
Thanks, Dan.
You're right, Dan. All right, here is Jasmine Crockett on CNN. Listen to this. And here we go.
Well, on that note, I do want to turn to something that you heard the senator just say, which is he was talking about a resolution that came before the House this past week honoring Charlie Kirk. And there were 58 Democrats who voted against it. You were one.
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely. You know what? One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color.
All right, so that's a question. Why is it that all but 2 of the representatives in the House of Representatives who voted no on, the Charlie Kirk remembrance, why is it all of the Democrats in the House who, voted against this thing were, as she said, people of color? Is it possible that they have, because I posted this on social media. Please, Jasmine, tell us exactly what videos are out there that show Charlie Kirk being a racist. I'll wait, because nobody can come up with one. You have all of these, all of these Democrats out there that are, I'm air quoting this, people of color who are voting against this Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk based on a lie that he was a racist, when clearly he was not.
No votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color.
Where, Jasmine Crockett? And here's the thing, Dana Bash doesn't ask for any kind of proof or clarification.
And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. And I can tell you that...
Can I ask a question? How harmful would Charlie Kirk's rhetoric be to people of color when we had a black president? Right? I mean, we've got black governors, we've got all these people of color in the House of Representatives, right? So please tell me, Jasmine Crockett, where are the videos that you can find that prove that Charlie Kirk was hurtful or harmful or racist to people of color? See, she can't. Remember all those videos that I keep mentioning? Go to my X feed, you'll find them, of black people that are discovering that Charlie Kirk was not a racist. See, I've got the video to prove that there's black folks out there, just because this is what Jasmine Crockett's talking about. I've got video proving that black people are discovering Charlie Kirk was not a racist, and it's people like Jasmine Crockett who are being caught lying.
A month prior to him passing away, he had actually gotten out on his podcast. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but he got out there and he was talking negatively about me directly. So if there was any way that
I wonder why
I was going to honor somebody who decided that they were just going to negatively talk about me and proclaim that I was somehow involved in the great white replacement. Yeah, I'm not honoring that kind of stuff, especially as a civil rights attorney, and understanding how I got to Congress, knowing that there were people that died, people that were willing to die, that worked to make sure that voices like mine could exist in this place.
You know what's so interesting? Like, if she discovered that, and I don't know of that video and I haven't seen it, but I'm sure that there's a lot more context that needs to be brought in, he would have gladly had her on to debate it.
Yeah. And
right?
I know the context of what she's talking about, and it's not about African Americans. It's about the refugees and the migrants that have been coming over, what's happened to Dearborn, Michigan, and other parts of the country. That's the great replacement theory at play.
Yeah.
Not Jasmine Crockett, who I'm finding out just now is an attorney.
She is.
Wow.
Yeah, she's an attorney. I mean, she's got a whole thing. She's an attorney. I don't know if, I guess she's a civil rights attorney. She went to, you know how I make the joke, private school Jasmine? Because you got private school Jasmine, where private school Jasmine shows up on CNN, but then when she goes back into the district, you got street Jasmine, where she starts talking, street, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, well, the real, Jasmine Crockett, please, stand up. But as usual, according to you, she is taking Charlie Kirk's comments way out of context, which is what she does.
Which I have in a clip. It debunks what she has to say in the first 10 seconds of the clip, if you want to hear it.
How long? Yeah, go ahead, real quick. All right, there you go.
Done.
Yeah, not much else to say there. So, private school Jasmine, thank you, Sam, proven to be lying yet again. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, the state of Tennessee is investigating one big company for its DEI practices. That's coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.624, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Zentex, your bathroom is one of the biggest selling points when it comes to getting your home sold. And Zentex can help you with a huge upgrade and a special price and offer just for my listeners. Now, you can upgrade your bathtub into a walk-in shower with grab bars and a bench seat from Zentex. This can help make the older folks in your life. A bathtub redesign can make your bathroom not only, again, look spectacular, but yes, it can help the older folks in your life as well. Because when the older folks come and they visit or they come live with you, I can tell you from firsthand experience that grab bars and a bench seat can help them. Now, a little about Zentex. It is incredibly impressive. Family owned and operated for 25 years. And yes, they were the 2022 winner of the Better Business Bureau Torch Award for Ethics. And last year, they were voted one of the best places to work in the construction industry. Now, many reasons why I put my trust behind Zentex. That's only 3. Your work is going to be done on time, in a day or less, and on budget. Now, right now, a great offer just for my listeners. You mentioned WTN when you find them online at Zentex.com. You get a free Kohler toilet when you mention WTN. You also get $999 off your bathroom project or enjoy no interest for 2 years, whichever works best for you. Find them online. Again, tell them Dan told you to reach out. Zentex.com, Zintex, Zentex.com. Dan Mendes here for my friends at Contours. Listen, holidays are coming up. That's right. And if you want to slim up for the holidays, so check out my friends at Contours. Right now, they're offering a Belly Buster special for just $99. Now, I've been telling you about this Belly Buster special. It is red light technology. It is cutting edge technology. It is all the rage. It's not only incredibly unique, but it is also effective. Now, Chad Benson and I have both gone through this. A lot of folks lose at least a couple of inches across the middle. Check them out. And if you want one of these Belly Buster specials right now, first 10 callers, only $99. That's right, $99. When you call this number, 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960. And again, if you want more information on these Belly Buster specials, this red light technology, go to their website, contoursllc.com. That's contoursllc.com. Lots of folks from across Middle Tennessee have been heading to Contours, taking advantage of that red light technology, unique, effective, and waiting for you, just $99. If you're one of the first 10 callers at 615-236-9960, find out more information at their website, contoursllc.com. That's contoursllc.com. All you've got to lose is inches.
Good morning. It is 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Drivers, driving conditions at the moment are pretty bad. I am looking at a screen filled with spin-out accidents, cars, trucks, SUVs in many different locations. Please take your time this morning as you're traveling. Also want to let you know that the weather may be related to NES reporting about 700 power outages this morning in a number of different areas. Again, you've got storms that have moved through the area, and we'll have more with Stefano coming up right after the news. Tennessee's Attorney General opening a civil investigation into alleged DEI practices at Deloitte, one of the state's largest contractors. Vanderbilt law professor Brian Fitzpatrick tells News 2 that investigators want to know if Deloitte had specific numbers of Black, Latino, or other categories of employees that it targeted for hiring.
And then they're going to look to see what did the employer do to try to meet those targets. Did they say, let's only interview Black people this year? Let's only interview Latinos this year? Did they say things like that internally? If they did, then they could be in some big trouble.
Now, if that's proved, the state may file a lawsuit against Deloitte. The Supreme Court ended race-conscious college admissions in 2023, and that fueled a wave of challenges to corporate DEI programs across the country. Happening today in Murfreesboro, the police department holds a press conference on a long-run investigation that's led to the indictment of 33 people. This began after a fentanyl overdose death in 2023, and it included 9 law enforcement agencies. Dozens of mourners gathering in Charlotte, North Carolina last night, a vigil for that Ukrainian refugee stabbed to death on a train. Residents highly critical of their city's leaders.
The Lord took her in his heavenly arms and took her home. She got promoted that night. But here we sit in a city that is falling apart, and the time to act was yesterday.
Irina Zarudska was 23 years old. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
6:33, Dan here, and it's Super Talk 99.7. Jonathan Fahey, by the way, is coming up. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter. They are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. You can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark. When the power is out in your neighborhood, the Generator Supercenter is going to keep your power on in your home. Financing is available. Call them 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. The website, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com.
It is a mess on the roads this morning. The weather causing spin-out accidents all over the map. So right now, 24 westbound past Hickory Hollow, that's a crash, the right shoulder. But westbound at Almaville, 2 overturned SUVs. Eastbound on 24, the crash at Sam Ridley Parkway. That one is a tanker truck that spun out, and police are saying it is on top of a car right now. That's in Smyrna. Be careful in that area. Bell Road at Mount View Road in Nashville, a crash. Old Hickory Boulevard at Juarez Drive in Hermitage, and they're still working. It looks like they're still working the accident scene in Columbia this morning on 65, the northbound side, as you get close to Silver Creek. Be careful this morning. There's ponding on the roadways, spin out accidents everywhere. It's going to take a few extra moments to get in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Man, Joan, we got a mess out on the roadways.
It is pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Now, is it like I'm in here, obviously.
Yeah.
So we had some storms overnight.
Right. Well, there were some storms. And in fact, NES says that there's about 700 people without power still this morning. So it looks like the storms at the moment are south of Nashville.
Right.
Mount Pleasant area, Hohenwald, Lewisburg, Tullahoma, McMinnville, those areas.
And it's supposed to rain off and on all day today, thunderstorms and gusty winds,
right
possible
behind,
small hail.
Right. Behind this group of thunderstorms, there's another one to the west of us that's going to come across. So all day long, it's going to be like this.
Nothing tornadic.
Nope. But you
So-
know what? It's the hydroplaning. It's spinning out on the roads. I ran into this a lot on the way in. Is you can't tell if that water that you're looking at that's gathered on the roadway is just a tiny bit of water or if you're about to run into a pond.
Right.
And I did a couple times this morning. So.
Yeah, you got to be careful, man.
Yeah.
And I think, we could say keep it slow, but I think on the highways, people don't have a choice.
No.
24, 65, I mean, it's all going to be, I'm assuming, pretty slow this morning.
Yeah.
With all of this rain.
Par for the course. If it sprinkles, there's going to be wrecks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You folks haven't seen anything, though, till you've tried to drive in California when it rains.
Yeah.
It is a lot worse because Californians, they simply cannot drive when it rains. It is insanity. Anyway, enough of that. Speaking of California, by the way, Gavin Newsom had this to say yesterday.
I'll be signing a bill, the first in the nation, saying enough. ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
So tough guy Gavin Newsom wants to unmask ICE, and we've got Jonathan Fahey, of course, on the line with us. Jonathan, you, of course, during the first Trump administration, acting director of ICE at one time. Let's talk about all of this. I mean, Gavin Newsom, first of all, a lot of people pointing out the obvious. Number one, what are you afraid of? Oh, I don't know. We've just had a political assassination, and the doxing of ICE agents is a real thing. But number two, Gavin Newsom doesn't have the authority to tell federal agents what to do.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it just shows how cynical he is because under the Supremacy Clause, he cannot do this. And this has been something that's been litigated. There's a 100-year-old Supreme Court precedent on this. Basically, federal officers conducting their duties as they're supposed to, a state official can't arrest them while they're doing it or for doing it. And Gavin Newsom knows this, and that's what makes this so cynical. It's just performative, and it is funny watching, he and Pritzker are both trying to be like an alpha male after it's almost like the reaction to, Tim Walz, right? Like, it's like, we're not Tim Walz, please, look at us. But it is funny that it's like, this is all this guy does. It's all performative. It's so cynical. And the irony is, if they were to try to enforce this law and arrest ICE agents who are out there mass doing their job, they could be, those officers arresting the ICE agents could be arrested for obstruction of justice, which is the real irony here, is they are putting their own state agents in danger of being arrested on federal charges, and they don't have any sort of immunity for it. So, all cynicism from Gavin Newsom, all performative, cares nothing about the law enforcement, which no Democrats do, but also nothing about the safety of Californians, because his main goal is trying to be president, trying to show how tough he is, so every time he could stand up to Trump, beat his chest, play the games, that elevates him. And if anyone looks at California's record under him, they're never voting for him. So he has to try to make it about something else.
Well, and the thing is, when you look at it, the word that you used was the word cynical. I think, yes, that's a great word to use. Also, he's just blatantly lying. That's the other thing. And you would think, and this is where I'm going to ask you to put your political hat on, you would think that the people of California and the people of America would actually take a step back and read beyond just Gavin Newsom, and his chest beating, and ask the question as to whether or not he's really allowed to do this. The really sad part is that he believes that this is the way to earn Democrat voters, by basically lying to them and telling them what he thinks that they want to hear.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It really shows where the Democratic Party is, because, the Democratic Party is far left of even California, meaning on the national level. So he has to appeal to this extreme base, or he will not get any traction as the nominee. So it really shows, that more than anything else. And he probably, he tried to moderate a little bit, I think, in the spring on a couple of issues and came swinging back hard left when it realized that wasn't going to work. So, yeah, I think it does. And, what's really interesting about this, you hear so much of, Donald Trump, authoritarian, dictator, all this stuff. Well, isn't this what he's trying to do? It's like, I'm a state governor trying to basically take over how the federal government can enforce federal law. So he's the one abusing power because everyone knows, anyone that went to, took government in high school, which I presume they still have in California, that knows that federal law is supreme. So this isn't even like a close case. It's not even an arguable case in court. And any prosecutor that would try to bring this in California, I think would have a danger of being sued for malicious prosecution because it's so clearly unconstitutional.
Well, performative, no substance, and a lie. I mean, that really does define the Democrat Party right now. We've got Jonathan Fahey joining us on Super Talk 99.7. Jonathan, we've got a lot of problems out on the roadway. We've got some rain, so going to check the roads real quickly on Super Talk 99.7. As far as your weather goes, yes, indeed, we are going to have rain off and on throughout the day, at times heavy. Might even get some thunderstorms and some hail as well, and a high in the mid-80s. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jonathan Fahey is joining us. Talking about Gavin Newsom just real quick, one of the things that I find fascinating is that he's not trying to unmask Antifa. He's not trying to unmask these folks that were throwing rocks and bricks at ICE vehicles in California. He's trying to unmask ICE agents. And again, as I said previously in this broadcast, at least once or twice, doxing is a thing. Doxing is a real thing. And yes, we did just have a political assassination in this country. And yes, we do still have Democrats that are calling ICE agents, Nazis and fascists and all of these other things. And I don't know if I've ever seen a time period where a political party, the Democrats, have been so incredibly tone deaf as right now.
Yeah, they are really out there as a party, meaning out of touch with the American people. And it's really shocking that how, willing they are to put law enforcement officers in danger. Yeah, exactly. They never say anything about Antifa. And he also never says anything about, at least that I'm aware of, the officers getting doxxed. Like, at least it would be a nice little, at least bookend of this thing to say. And another thing, don't dox these agents when they're unmasked. But he doesn't say that, right? Because he's not going to ever stand up for law enforcement, never stand up to the far left. The Democrats are just terrified of the far left. You see both he and Pritzker, who are presumably sort of vying for this nomination in 2028, are both using the same playbook, but it really is a reflection not really of them, because Gavin Newsom has no principles whatsoever. If the Democratic Party moderated, he'd moderate. So he's just a reflection of what they are right now, which is a really, really ugly party. And right after having the political assassination, it's still shocking to me how they didn't take maybe a week or so just to kind of like moderate and take a step back. And, there's just there's no maturity on their side. There's no judgment. It is just full on anti-Trump, anti-ICE, pro, open border at all costs. And it's pretty shocking. And I do think even the average California voter probably is a little bit alarmed by this.
Well, you know what, Jonathan, you would think, but I can guarantee you that in the next election, they're going to continue to vote Democrat at the local level and at the state level as well. It's what they do. And it is, I wish I could say that it's shocking. It's not at this point, knowing what I know about California and knowing how left it has become. One of the other things that I want to just get your take on, just real quick, because I know that a lot of people are talking about the return of Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know if you saw any of the interview that she did with Rachel Maddow last night, but one of the things that she is talking about, of course, is that Donald Trump is a fascist and all of the other just very familiar talking points that we have heard time and time again. I want to play this piece of audio real quick and get your take on it. This is Kamala Harris with Rachel Maddow. And again, as we're talking about the assassination culture that the Democrats seem to personify these days.
And right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up. And perhaps it is because his threats and the way he has used the weight of the federal government to take out vengeance on his critics is something that they fear, and I get that. I understand why they do. We've seen the demonstration of it.
It's like pre-November all over again, Jonathan. It's like she's like a broken record, right? It's the same thing over and over again, and they don't seem to realize that kind of rhetoric didn't work, and it's not going to work now. And I guess if she's going to run for president and this is what she has to offer, I say bring it on.
Yeah, it's so, it's very entertaining to listen to her because she's so unbelievably bad at this. If she was running for your treasurer of the local HOA, I think people would think she's grossly unqualified. It's so amazing that after so many years in politics, she just has nothing of substance to say. And the other part, I'm sure you've played why she didn't pick Pete Buttigieg is quite funny as well, because it just shows there's no intellectual firepower up there. She's like, I'm not a bigot. I just think everyone else is a bigot, which really isn't a really great message either. Mm-hmm. And what company would get away with that, saying we didn't hire a person who's gay because we thought our customers are bigoted, not because we are? That wouldn't fly in the courts or anything. So It's just it is so funny watching her. But I think anyone knows her political career is over. It's just every time she gets on any platform, and these are Rachel Maddow and these very easy platforms, she's still a train wreck. And I'm sure everything is scripted and rehearsed, and she still can't even pull off like a simple, softball interview.
Well, and I'll get into more detail on that interview with Rachel Maddow coming up. But one of the other things that she says is that Joe Biden was reckless for not dropping out sooner. And it's like, well, you could have called him out at any time. You could have said something. You could have forced the issue. She refused to do that. So as you have all of these people, clamoring to interview Kamala Harris, I would be interested to see if somebody calls her out on the fact that in the book, she does say that Biden was reckless for not dropping out sooner. Well, she could have forced the issue, and she chose not to. And she was out there saying that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack. So I'll get into all of that coming up here on Nashville's Morning News. Jonathan, how can people find you on Twitter?
John for Fairfax, JONFORFAIRFAX. And any giveaways for the next 10 followers?
No, though. You know what? If we
round of golf with Morgan Wallen, are we doing it today or is that next time?
No.
Okay.
Listen, if I had tickets to Morgan Wallen, I'd be using them myself. Morgan Wallen is a big fan of Morgan Wallen. Anyway, thank you, Jonathan. Always great to have you on. It is. You know what we ought to do? We ought to give away the Kamala Harris book.
Oh.
You think people are clamoring for Kamala Harris's book?
We don't need to get sued for emotional distress.
Here's the deal. We've got winter coming up. People need like firewood and stuff to make fires.
Kindling. Fire starter.
Kindling. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, it's 6:52. Joan was coming up in the news at 7.
Why some investigators say New York City was about to lose its entire cellular tower operation. This is an incredible story. It's coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. If you've got a special occasion coming up, you need a special gift, Brentwood Jewelry is your place to go for the lady in your life, guys. Necklaces, bracelets, rings, and earrings. They've got a great selection, great value for any budget. For the men, money clips and cufflinks, and they've got watches for everyone as well. And again, for every budget and style. By the way, one of my favorites, if you've got a family heirloom, maybe an old watch that needs repair, maybe a ring that needs to be reset, Brentwood Jewelry, they can do it for you. They've got great merchandise, terrific prices, again, for every budget. This is a family-owned business. They've been in Middle Tennessee for over 50 years. Brentwood Jewelry is the official jewelry store of my house, and they are here to help you. 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. BrentwoodJewelry.com. .658 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I'm just seeing this story that you're going to do at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I'm not going to do it. You've got it coming up.
Right?
That's a crazy story, though.
It's insane.
Yeah, I'm getting the
And it's a foreign government that's attacking our country.
So I'm looking forward to your reporting coming up, and we'll talk about that and a lot more as the show continues to unfold. I've been talking about a couple of things which I still have not fully gotten into. Donald Trump versus Tylenol. Now we have a GOP senator saying, show me the proof that Tylenol is connected to autism. So we're gonna talk about this. I'm gonna tell you where I'm going with this. Is that all across the world today, and certainly here in America, you've got all these media outlets that are saying that Donald Trump, is making these unproven allegations against Tylenol. There have been a crap ton of studies that have shown a possible, and that's the operative word, a possible connection between acetaminophen, Tylenol, and autism. And so I think Trump may have hit it a little hard, maybe a little bit harder than he should have, because everybody else is sort of being cautious with their language. But President Trump, I mean, he dove in with both feet. So I've got all the audio. I've got information on the studies where Tylenol or acetaminophen could be linked to autism and a few other things as well, because there are multiple, and I mean multiple studies from respected scientists and doctors and institutions that have said there is a possible link. So they're not saying there is a direct causal link as of yet, but they're working on it. Anyway, I've got the whole story coming up on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And drivers, beware that there's still a lot of standing water on the roadways, a lot of spin-out accidents this morning that we've witnessed. And there's just a whole lot of slowed areas of the roads this morning because of that water. You'll want to take some extra time to get to work this morning. Details about the roads coming up. An investigation that began as a probe into threats against someone that the Secret Service protects has uncovered an operation that officials believe could have disabled cellular towers across New York City. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
The U.S. Secret Service believes it disrupted a plot that could have collapsed the entire telecommunications system in New York City. And law enforcement sources tell ABC News it's believed to be connected to the Chinese government. Officials say several individuals, including at least one with direct access to the president, began receiving threats this spring.
Now, the threats were tracked to locations around New York City where investigators seized servers and other equipment capable of sending millions of text messages every minute. That's what would have disabled those communication systems. We'll have more on this as we learn more. 2 men are facing charges after dressing up in costumes and robbing someone on Broadway. This happened about 4:45 Sunday morning. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Metro Police telling us that Xavier Rhodes was wearing a gorilla suit at the time when he put someone in a headlock. Another man, Sherrod Robinson right here, was wearing a Hawaiian shirt, punched and then kicked this guy. They stole his shoes and then ran off.
But police tracked them down on the pedestrian bridge. They've been arrested.
So the guy puts on a gorilla suit.
Correct, yeah.
To steal a pair of shoes.
Correct. I'm thinking alcohol may have been involved in this.
I just wondered, like, who's got a gorilla suit laying around?
Yeah, that's
you know what
a
I
good
mean?
question.
It's like, hey, there's a guy with a really cool pair of shoes. Get the gorilla suit.
And nobody will spot you running away in that gorilla suit, buddy.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's really easy to get away in a gorilla suit. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Okay. So car buyers are not going for fully electric vehicles anymore, and a federal tax credit for EVs is expiring. So automakers in Tennessee are slowing down their electric vehicle production and laying off workers. Buyers not confident they can find a charging station when they need one. And there have been reports, too, of garage fires that begin while cars are charging at home. The Tennessean reports many automakers like Ford are pivoting now to hybrids instead. Disney ABC restoring the Jimmy Kimmel show after he lied to his viewers, saying that it was a MAGA supporter who killed Charlie Kirk. But a big TV station owner says it's not having it.
Sinclair, one of the biggest owners of network TV affiliates, says it still will not air the show despite Kimmel's reinstatement. The company saying beginning Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return.
That's ABC's Perry Rossum, and this is Tune It Tuesday. That's when the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency tunes NOAA weather radios for free. They'll be out at Lowe's stores across Middle Tennessee from 4 until 7 tonight. You can bring your radio. They'll tune it for you. They've also got a limited number of radios that they'll give away, and there will be radios there to purchase. Now, you can see which Lowe's locations will participate in this. Just go to my X account, check it out. I've got all the information you need there. It's Joan Jones WTN on X. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Futures are mixed, with the Dow futures up 51, the NASDAQ futures and the S&P futures are both down just a fraction. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, a lot of problems on the roads because of the weather this morning. So in Antioch, westbound 24 at Hickory Hollow Parkway, the right shoulder blocked off by a crash. Also westbound on 24 in Smyrna, just past Almaville Road, exit 70. They're still working on an SUV that flipped over in the median there, and the first responders are on the scene. That left shoulder is blocked off. Flipping over to the eastbound side of 24 at Sam Ridley Parkway, they still are working on that tanker truck that spun out of control and landed on top of a car. 2 left lanes are blocked off by that one. Now watch it out at the airport, Murfreesboro Pike at McGavick Pike. That's a crash scene. Old Hickory Boulevard at Juarez Drive in Hermitage. That's a crash scene as well. Lots of delays this morning all over the map. It's taking folks a lot of time to get in. Just call the boss and say you're going to be a little late. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 on WTN. Man, the roadways and highways are an absolute mess. We're going to have rain off and on all day today. Cloudy, humid, couple of showers, thunderstorms possibly as well. Gusty winds and possibly some small hail as a matter of fact. And so we've got your weather and traffic every 10 minutes here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. President Trump has come out now very controversially and told Americans, pregnant women, not to take Tylenol. Now, realize, and Joan, I don't know if you were a Tylenol user when you were pregnant, but I mean, Tylenol is, something that helps fever. If you've got a headache, if you've got a fever, pregnant women tend to take Tylenol, from what I understand.
Yeah.
If you have a fever, if you've got a headache or whatever. Well, President Trump said this yesterday.
Tylenol during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
Well, he said it. People at Tylenol, of course, are freaking out. So as you can imagine, this sent Big Pharma into hysterics. But
oh, boy.
Here's the deal. Like, if you look at all the coverage of this story, they're covering it like there's never been an accusation anywhere. This just comes up out of the blue about the accusations that Tylenol and a link to autism. Mothers, who are pregnant taking Tylenol, the link is, or the suggestion is, that there's a link to autism. Now, Tylenol, otherwise known, by the way, as acetaminophen, the accusation is that exposing preborns to Tylenol in utero can possibly cause autism. These accusations, they go back years, and I mean years, with a whole bunch of studies. And so now you have people on both sides, and this is what drives me nuts about this stuff. You've got people on both sides of this debate playing my study can beat up your study, right? And I hate that because I'm no doctor, but I'm always interested in these types of things. You had a Danish study that made the accusation. There was a Journal of the American Medical Association pediatric study in 2018 that said exposure to acetaminophen caused a 30% increase in the risk of autism. And so you have a lot of these studies where they will say it either caused it or there is a suggestion. And there's a big difference between a suggestion that there is a link and saying there is actually a causal connection between acetaminophen, Tylenol, and autism. So there's the definite connections, and then there's the suggestion. But, President Trump, he left nothing to the imagination. There's nothing vague about what he said.
For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that.
So President Trump is being, as you can imagine, he's being blistered online and people saying, oh, there's no link, there's no link. I don't know if there's a link. A study in 2018 found rodents' brain development was disrupted with acetaminophen use. There have been other studies as well. There have been calls for warnings. There have been lawsuits related to the possibility that Tylenol causes autism. And it's the usual stuff. The studies, some will say, are inconclusive. Others will say the studies are conclusive and at least enough for warning labels and more studies, etc. Now, some scientists say that the studies don't prove, and that's the word, prove that autism was actually caused by the Tylenol or acetaminophen, and other factors were involved as well. By the way, Trump also said that we should limit giving Tylenol to small kids. Also, they're linking ADHD and liver disease to Tylenol as well.
Well, they've always talked about liver disease if you take too much Tylenol.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Somebody I know, her mother took a lot of Tylenol, and I think I could say this. So a friend of mine, her mom took a lot of Tylenol, and a couple of her siblings actually have autism.
Wow.
So there's a lot of scientists out there that are saying, oh, there's no proof, there's no link, there's no proof. Okay, well, there's a lot of studies that are out there that will tell you that at the very least, it should be cause for concern. I'm telling you that I don't know, but I'm just telling you the studies. What did you say, Sam?
Just that specifically, so, obviously the active ingredient in Tylenol is acetaminophen. And why isn't Trump saying acetaminophen explicitly? He's calling out Tylenol by name due to the inactive ingredients, would be my assumption. In the inactive ingredients in Tylenol, it does depend on the specific Tylenol product. You've got magnesium stearate. You've got carnauba wax, hypromellose, titanium dioxide, polyethylene glycol, sodium starch glycolate. Now, that's a very common thing, comes actually from a potato, but FD&C yellow 6 aluminum lake and FD&C red 40 aluminum lake. Those are dyes that go on the coating of the pill. But to me, those two and the magnesium stearate that stick out prominently as things that I would not associate with acetaminophen.
See, my problem with this whole thing, and again, if you look at the news coverage of this, everybody's saying that Donald Trump's claims are baseless. And that's my problem. My problem is I'm not saying what Donald Trump is saying is right or wrong, because I don't know. I am a humble talk show host. However, my problem is that you've got all the people in the media that are saying that these are baseless allegations and no proof whatsoever, and Donald Trump is being unscientific. Really? I'm a little confused because I remember this Fox study. This was on Fox News talking about a more recent study from just a couple of weeks ago.
The group of researchers at Mount Sinai looked at over 46 studies, over 100,000 participants worldwide, and they found that in utero exposure to acetaminophen increases risk of autism as well as attention deficit hyperactivity type disorders. And the higher the dose, the longer the duration, increases this risk further. Now, we think this happens because acetaminophen can cross the placenta and it can interfere with the developing fetal brain with the chemical and hormonal signaling. And the big problem is acetaminophen, which is also known as brand names Tylenol, paracetamol, have been our go-to recommendations for pain and fever relief in these pregnant patients. I do have to say the study is not 100% cause and effect. It doesn't establish that, but it is a very strong observational study. And in this time where we're seeing such a significant rise in autism spectrum disorders, I don't think we should take this data lightly.
So that was Fox News Dr. Massa Tirani, an analyst with Fox News, talking about that more recent study. And so it seems like you've got all of these studies, several of them over the years, that are at least saying there's a possible association between Tylenol and autism or ADHD. She's talking about this Mount Sinai study, by the way, had Harvard researchers. So all I'm saying is that the reporting on this is misleading at best. We got to check the roads real quick on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it is going to be rainy today and it's causing a lot of problems out on the roadways. Today, cloudy and humid with a couple of showers, thunderstorm as well. I'm just going to say stormy all day off and on. I think that's inappropriate.
I think that's a perfect way to explain it.
All right. Gusty winds, a small hail can accompany any thunderstorm. High's going to be in the mid-80s. So this was definitely a crap storm that the president came out and announced yesterday, basically telling people, don't take Tylenol. By the way, the company that makes Tylenol, it's an offshoot of Johnson & Johnson. Just to be fair, they're saying, no, Tylenol is perfectly safe and women have been using it for years. Oh, okay. And that's fine. That is most certainly true. I will also point out that millions and millions of women all across not only our country, but countries around the world have been taking Tylenol or acetaminophen. And so whether or not it causes autism or not, I think that there is enough evidence to, at the very least, take a really close look, because you do have all of these various studies that are out there that say that there could be a link. This is FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, talking about that same study that I just played you from Fox News from earlier, where they're talking about it's Harvard researchers. They're calling it the Mount Sinai study, I guess, where they did link the two, autism and Tylenol.
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest study was done by Harvard and Mount Sinai. They looked at 27 studies showing an association. There were 4 against it, and they said, based on the overwhelming body of evidence, there was a causal relationship. Those are the exact words of the dean of the Harvard School of Public Health. So there's been this growing body of evidence. We're just now bringing it to the forefront so that people know when they pop a Tylenol willy-nilly during their pregnancy, they should know most low-grade fevers don't need to be treated.
So again, that is Dr. Marty McCary. He said that a collection of studies, including from the Boston birth cohort, the Nurses' Health Study, that Mount Sinai Harvard study, all of them have established there is, he says, a causal relationship between prenatal acetaminophen and neurodevelopmental disorders of ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. Now, again, company that makes Tylenol says this is not true, that it is safe for kids. But again, I'm just going to keep going back. You just Google it yourself.
Yeah.
There's an abundance of headlines out there saying that Trump's claims are unfounded, unscientific, and unnecessary. Would somebody at least admit that there's a lot of smoke here? And I'm not, Big Pharma, you know what? You can talk about the studies. You can talk about the studies that show that Tylenol is perfectly safe for kids. And I don't know if it is or not, but you look at some of those studies that say that Tylenol is perfectly safe. That's fine. How many of those studies are paid for by Big Pharma? So all I'm telling you is that when I see all of the headlines that are so incredibly misleading, when they're saying that what Trump says is unfounded, unscientific, and unnecessary, those are all headlines that I saw this morning. Not even mentioning all of the studies that I just mentioned, then I'm just a little suspicious.
So, and to back you up on that, you bring up other nations in this. The European Union has restricted the use of titanium dioxide nanoparticles in cosmetics and food products. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies titanium dioxide as possibly carcinogenic to humans based on animal studies. Apparently, it's got genotoxicity potential, neurotoxicity potential, endocrine disruption potential, and immune system dysfunction potential, and it's an inactive component of Tylenol. That's all free to be found. So to say it's baseless is just completely out of this world, considering that there's other organizations that have deemed...
And other countries.
That have deemed it, potentially unsafe.
Sam, it's unfounded, unscientific, and unnecessary. You conspiracy theorist, you.
Racist. Because everything's racist.
And the funny part is the nanoparticles are generally considered more toxic than larger particles, apparently, which I would assume, someone correct me on the text line, would be found as an inactive component in a medication.
There's also, by the way, another, just because the hate listeners are going to hit me on this, there's also talk of another drug called leucovorin.
Yes.
That could help kids with severe autism. And so they are now the FDA, whoever it is, they are going to start recommending that drug to help kids with autism. And you've got people screaming that Dr. Oz, of course, with the Trump administration, Dr. Oz has a stake in the company, which he doesn't. He actually has ties to a company that sells supplements. That company sells generic versions or over-the-counter versions of leucovorin. I grokked it, and despite all of the accusations, Grok says, there is no evidence that Dr. Oz will benefit from the sales of this leucovorin.
Well, leucovorin is essentially folinic acid, which is a form of folic acid, vitamin B.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about a medication.
No.
Anybody can, any company that makes supplements can make this folic acid. So honestly, that's an insane accusation.
Well, and here's the other. I mean, we could tie in the vaccinations. We could tie in, if you get your vaccination, you won't get COVID. And if you get the vaccination, don't worry, there won't be any side effects. I mean, this is the same media, right? This is the same media that told us all of that are now telling us that what Donald Trump said is unfounded, unscientific, and unnecessary. It is 7:23 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, closing arguments today for the man accused of trying to kill President Trump. Also, why a Clarksville woman is suing her hometown. Those stories at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here at 724. The Busy Bee Best Prices of the Year event is going on right now. As a matter of fact, the savings are buzzing now. Right now, with any heating repair service, you are going to get a free dryer vent cleaning. That is huge. Protect your home and feel safer on Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. If you need a new HVAC unit altogether, check out these Stingers. A Goodman 14.3 SEER 2-ton split heat pump, just $7,995. That includes, by the way, a 10-year parts warranty and 2-year labor warranty as well. If you have some plumbing issues, they've got the deals for you. $500 off water and drain repipes at Busy Bee, $300 off tanked to tankless water heaters, and up to $1,500 off water filtration systems. Check them out. I've been a customer of Busy Bees for years. Call them, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Tell them I told you to reach out. 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, BusyBeeHVAC.com. Loan Pronto. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every single month? Well, you need to stop. Right now, Loan Pronto, they can help you. They are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars every single month. You can lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the great thing. Here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. So don't wait. Rates this low won't last long. Call Loan Pronto right now for your free, no obligation quote. Loan Pronto is indeed amazing. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call them at 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime. LoanPronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Clayton Homes. Listen, their red tag sale event is going on right now at Clayton Homes. This is a huge opportunity for you, my friends. Now and right now is the best time of the year to buy your dream home with Clayton Homes. For a limited time, we're slashing prices and offering you the chance to save thousands of dollars on select in-stock homes. Now, these are move-in ready homes with unbelievable markdowns, but only while supplies last. So whether you're looking for more space, your first home, maybe just a great deal, right now, Clayton Homes, they can make it happen for you. Visit the local Clayton Homes to find out which homes are part of this sale and lock in your savings today. Don't wait. These homes are priced to move, and when they're gone, they're gone. Now, I visited the Dixon location of Clayton Homes. Open spaces, deep soak tubs, energy efficient appliances. They've got great selection, great value at Clayton Homes. Details at theredtagsale.com. That's theredtagsale.com. Terms and conditions for the Red Tag Sales event at theredtagsale.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 12/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Good morning. It's now 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Closing arguments and deliberations set to begin this morning in the trial of the man accused of trying to assassinate Donald Trump at his golf course last year.
After hearing 8 days of testimony and from 41 witnesses, a Florida jury will have to decide whether they believe Ryan Ruth intended to assassinate Donald Trump last year when he hid in the bushes of Trump's golf course with an assault rifle. Prosecutors say the evidence couldn't be clearer, with DNA tying Ruth to the weapon and multiple witnesses describing him at the scene of the crime. Ruth, who's defending himself without a lawyer, acknowledged during the trial that he might have been the person hiding in those bushes, but he argued he's a peaceful man who never intended to shoot Trump. Ruth faces the possibility of life in prison if he's convicted. From federal court in Fort Pierce, Florida, Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Happening today, President Trump is delivering a major speech at the United Nations General Assembly. World leaders have convened there in New York for that body's 80th session. The White House says that the president will promote the renewal of American strength, denounce globalist institutions, and lay out his vision for the world. A woman is suing the city of Clarksville over a Facebook post from the police department that accused her of fraud. Courtney Miller said she was picking up an Instacart order at a Kroger store, but police screenshotted the transaction and accused her of identity theft and credit card fraud. Turns out police later found out that that credit card that was provided by the customer had been reported as stolen.
I think all the time that this could have been anybody. Like, this wasn't, if I would have been taking a nap or, been too busy to take this order, it would have been the next person who accepted this order and been posted.
Even though the Facebook post was removed, Miller said the damage had already been done. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got stock futures mixed with the Dow up 44, NASDAQ futures are down 1, and S&P futures -2. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. No showings, no open houses, and no stress. Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust my friends to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. It is all part of the Mark Spain Real Estate and their guaranteed offer. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years, and they've served over 72,000 satisfied clients. That's right, over 72,000. So if you need to get out of your home fast, maybe to get into your dream home, Mark Spain Real Estate, they can help you. People are saying Mark Spain Real Estate sold my home quickly and for more money than we bought it for. Entire process was easy and stress-free. A lot of folks like Tom, listener to this show, says, I highly recommend Mark Spain Real Estate. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out. 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Find them online anytime. It is markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. Dan Mandis here, 734, Synergen X and Low T Center have been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. And let me tell you something, it's not just talk. It is true. Now, what does it actually do? Well, I'm telling you guys, if you've been thinking about testosterone, or if you've noticed that you're getting older and you're more tired, you're not motivated to do anything, it's not just aging. It is a physical and mental change to your body. And testosterone can actually help. And Synergen X and Low T Center, they can help you today. Now, listen, you can do better at work. You can do better at love. You can do better at the gym with Synergen X and Low T Center. They have clinics conveniently located across town. Now, you have the power to choose if you want to be treated at the clinic or if you want to receive at-home treatment. Either way, it all starts with a quick test at the center. So what are you waiting for? Just imagine how much better you are going to feel when you take back your health, restore your energy, and get on with the rest of your life. Book your appointment today, right now, at fixmylowt.com. That is fixmylowt.com. You'll be wishing you did it sooner.
Still a lot of problems on the roadways. I'll tell you about them. 24, the westbound lanes past Almaville Road exit 70. They're still working a flipped over SUV on the left shoulder. If you're on 24 eastbound side at Shelby Avenue exit 49, it's a crash in downtown. The right shoulder is blocked off. 24 eastbound at Sam Ridley Parkway. This one's going to be there for a while. That's that spun out tanker truck that's stuck on top of a car. And boy, is that causing a mess on 24 this morning. Eastbound 40 at Bellevue, there's a crash reported as well at exit 196. A lot of the roads this morning, including 65 north and southbound coming in from the north, they're all a mess this morning. Extra time is going to be needed to get to work. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.737, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, Joan, they keep telling me that I got to mention this more. All the different ways to watch us on WTN, then I'm going to get to content. I just always forget this stuff.
Yeah. We should remind you more often.
I blame Sam for that. So you can watch us on...
Yes.
On Facebook, Rumble, Twitch, X, 997WTN.com. You can find us. Most certainly, my favorite is YouTube, where you can chat with us live. And when we have a Daily Dan poll up, you can take the Daily Dan poll as well. And you can stream us anywhere. So you can find us, listen to us, watch us, whatever, anywhere. And, of course, you always have good old 99.7 on your FM dial, WTN.
And the people the people on YouTube, on that chat feature, they say some funky things.
They got their own thing going on over there on YouTube.
Wow.
I'm kind of afraid to go in there sometimes.
Yeah.
I just like, you know what? You guys got it going on over there in YouTube on the chat.
Yeah.
And that Sam's job is to watch them. But they're all friends. And what I like about the YouTube folks, they're really smart. They're really passionate. And oftentimes they're talking about stuff other than what we're talking about.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is fun. I got no problem with that.
Little world.
Listen, as long as you're watching.
Yeah.
What is it Chris Hand says? Tickle the algorithms?
Yeah.
Tickle the algos.
As long as those algos are getting tickled.
Bingo.
That's. Anyway. All right, very good. Let's move on. Okay. By the way, big announcement coming up at sometime during the Chris Hand show.
Oh.
We had an event scheduled for the end of September. That has now been canceled in lieu of something else. And that something else is going to be flippin' incredible. I cannot wait for this. Usually, I always enjoy our events, some more than others. I cannot wait for this one. And Chris is going to announce it coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN during his show. Now, Kamala Harris is out there, and it's interesting. I just looked up at CNN, and they've got our buddy Harry Enton, and they're running the numbers. Kamala Harris's political standing, I'll keep an eye on that to see if she actually has any standing. But she gave her first interview, and we were joking about this before. She gave her first interview with Rachel Maddow. Now, this is her first, would it be, it's not the first, is it the first post-election interview?
No.
The first sit-down? No, it's not. So it's a first, I don't know what it is, but it's an interview with Rachel. You know what it is? It is a boring, oh my goodness. Okay, real quick. Kamala Harris's net favorable rating in October of 2024, it was -5. Harry Enton right now on CNN in September of 2025, a year later, she is down 13 points. So she is down 7 from where she was a year ago.
Wow.
No wonder her new book is slated for 3rd to 7th grade level.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Isn't that true for all books? I don't know about that. I don't know if I think that's true for,
no, there's some tough reads out there.
Well, I'm talking about like political books. Okay, let's fact check.
Fact check. I'm on it.
Ronald Reagan's book, like whatever, find a comparable book that Ronald Reagan wrote or whatever. Because I think, Joan, aren't all books supposed to be 3rd to 7th grade?
Well,
like I know when they named me the host of Nashville's Morning News, they said, Dan, we're looking for something around 2nd grade level. And you're the man for the job.
And you deliver every day,
I
Dan.
do. Isn't it great?
Wow.
I know. Super texters, go ahead, knock yourselves out. Let the comedy begin. So this is interesting, and I'm watching Harry Enton as this is live. Top Dem choices for 2028. Gavin Newsom back in April was 8%. He is now at 21%. Kamala Harris back in April was at 28%. She is now down to 19%. In other words, April, May, June, July, 5 months ago, Kamala Harris was the choice for the Democrats, if you look at the polling. Now, clearly, it is that big bag of wind, Gavin Newsom. And so that's why she has now come out with this book trying to save her political career. And she was on with Rachel Maddow, and this is part of what she said.
And right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump.
So this is funny. Californians, they asked Californians, what level of excitement do you have for Kamala Harris running for president? In 2024, it was at 58%. Now only 42% of Californians are excited for a Kamala Harris run. So I don't know what happened. I do know what happened between the end of Harris's campaign leading into the election there in November of 2024 and right now. I think part of what's been going on, and I don't know, you can fact check me on this, Joan, if you want.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why her popularity has been plummeting is because just like that comment, right? So I just played you the comment where she's talking about how, Trump is a tyrant and all of these other things. We are now, 8 months or so, whatever it is, 8-9 months into the Trump presidency, and he's not a tyrant. As a matter of fact, Harry Enton on CNN, we were talking about this earlier. You have these polls out there that show that among all Americans, Republicans are trusted more than Democrats on the top 3 issues: the economy, immigration, and crime. Not to mention the fact that among independents, specifically, they do trust Republicans with those 3 major issues. So she can go out here, and Kamala Harris can go out and she can say, Donald Trump's a tyrant and authoritarian and all that other crap. Girlfriend, people aren't buying it.
And these titans of industry are not speaking up. And perhaps it is because his threats and the way he has used the weight of the federal government to take out vengeance on his critics is something that they fear, and I get that. I understand why they do. We've seen the demonstration of it.
So she's talking about the giants of industry not speaking out. Maybe the reason why the titans of industry are not speaking out is because they're happy with what Donald Trump is doing. I mean, did you ever think about that, Kamala Harris?
I have some funny information here for you. So,
okay.
I put in Google, why is Kamala Harris's popularity plummeting?
Okay.
And it says, despite early struggles and periods of low approval ratings during her time as vice president, Kamala Harris's popularity did not plummet, but instead rebounded.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay.
So that's Google. So I put the same phrase into Grok. Why is Kamala Harris's popularity plummeting? And it says the decline builds on a pattern of low approval ratings during her vice presidency and her failed White House bid based on analyses from election data firms, polls, public discourse, several blah, blah, blah. Lingering association with Biden's unpopular administration, economic concerns, erosion of support among core Democratic constituencies, campaign missteps, and perceived inauthenticity.
Perceived? There's nothing perceived about that.
Border, cultural, and structural biases. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what's so interesting about that? What did you say? Perceived inauthenticity?
Inauthenticity, yes.
Inauthenticity. She is so actually authentic in the fact that she has these, word salads, and she screws things up all the time, and she has these really vapid things that she says, and nobody knows what the heck she's talking about. So while she's trying to cover those word salads and trying to be inauthentic, she actually shows off her authenticity by word salading all the time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Drunk ant syndrome, as I call it.
Drunk ant syndrome.
Drunk ant syndrome, yeah.
Which, to your question earlier, I did find a comparison. The Truths We Hold, An American Journey, that was the book that was published, I believe, last year before last, has been graded to about 7th grade level. So
is that Kamala Harris's book?
Yeah, 7th grade and up, age range 12 and up. And if we go to An American Life, written by Reagan, it says high school to adult, starting at a reading level of grade 8. But if you go back to his earlier book, For a Time for Choosing, it starts in 9th grade. Things that you want to get the younger generations interested in. They're probably more honest, too.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Oh, yeah, because her book is so full of BS. And I've got some other sound bites here real quick. But, as far as Harris goes, she does seem to be stuck on autopilot with all of these talking points about how Trump is Trump is an authoritarian. He's a tyrant, all of these other things. And I just think that part of that, and by the way, I do find it interesting, the difference, Joan, between Google and Grok, where Google said that her popularity is rising.
Right.
And Grok and CNN, CNN just had a whole thing on how her popularity is falling. Harris on Trump questioning her race. I wasn't about to fall for that bait. It wasn't just Trump, Kamala. It was people in your own party. All right, I got to get to this audio. So during this interview, she also spoke about her disastrous decision to go with Tim Walz as her running mate because, remember, part of the discussion is that Pete Buttigieg was actually her choice.
I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said.
Okay, now, listen to this, though. She says, no, that's not what I said. And now she's going to try to clarify what she said. And literally what she says is, I couldn't put him on the ticket because he's gay.
That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for President of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor.
Okay, so now it's Donald Trump's fault. Let's dissect what she's saying. So now it's Donald Trump's fault that she was scared to put a gay man on with her as the running mate during the last presidential election because Donald Trump has no floor. That's what she just said.
Mm-hmm. To be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
So how was that different? So she's blaming Trump for her bad, because everybody knows clearly that Tim Walz was a train wreck. I mean, everybody knows.
Friends with school shooters.
It's just exactly right. One of many reasons why Tim Walz was a disastrous decision for Kamala Harris. Here's a little bit more.
No matter how...
By the way, she looks like a deer in the headlights, man. Like, she really does.
Still looks like a deer in the headlights.
Her brain is like stuttering. You know what I mean?
Oh, I've been an advocate and an ally.
Some of my best friends are gay.
Of the LGBT community my entire life. So it wasn't about So it wasn't about any prejudice on my part, but
that
we had such a short period of time. And the stakes were so high. I think Pete is a phenomenal public servant. And I think America is and would be ready for that.
Well, then why didn't she put him on the ticket?
Yeah.
Right?
She had a better answer of he was a terrible Secretary of Transportation given what happened with the East Palestine train derailment,
sure.
all of the airline issues we've had.
And him taking 2 months off while...
For paternity leave?
Yeah. I mean,
for a baby he bought?
Yeah.
But when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, and maybe I was being too cautious. I'll let our friends, we should all talk about that. Maybe I was.
Maybe I was.
But that's the decision I made, and I, as with everything else in the book, I'm being very candid about that.
Yeah.
With a great deal of sadness about also the fact that it might have been a risk.
So I don't get how she says that's not what I said when literally she just spent a minute 45 basically saying that's what she did. She didn't put Pete Buttigieg on. Now, I don't know if it would have made a difference. Pete Buttigieg in place of Tim Walz, because she was such a flawed candidate. Kamala Harris was such a flawed candidate. She's also got to be careful. Here's the other thing. She's also got to be careful because clearly she wants to run again. So she can't talk about how phenomenal of a candidate Pete Buttigieg would be because she may be running against him in a primary. So she's got to be careful. But just the whole thing
Did she talk at all
is
about
comical.
Not choosing Josh Shapiro? Did she talk about that with?
Not that I saw.
Madcow?
I'll see if I can find that. But I didn't see that. I think I think it's common knowledge. The reason why I think one of two things happened with Josh Shapiro Either they didn't choose him because, the Israel problem that the Democrats have, because he's Jewish, or because Josh Shapiro was like, this woman is a mumbling, bumbling train wreck, and I don't want anything to do with this campaign.
He certainly would shine.
He would, and he
Yeah.
would outshine her.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go. 7:54 on WTN. Joan was coming up in the news.
We'll tell you what's up with the border czar Tom Homan, and did he accept a bribe? What the White House is saying about that media frenzy story today. It's coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here, talking about my friends at the Glock store, and they are inviting you to be one of the first in Nashville to experience the AccuShoot LFX live fire simulator. By the way, I'm going to do this today, actually, and I can't wait. From Tuesday the 23rd to Saturday the 27th, so it's going to go through the 27th. The AccuShoot LFX is a fully interactive experience that lets you shoot at a variety of animated targets with live fire in a timed drill that is automatically and instantly scored. Now, this is why the scoring is important. Every single day, the top shooters in the daily prize drills is going to win some valuable prizes like a Real Avid gunsmithing tools and O-Sight red dot optics. And when the week is over, the top shooter overall of the grand prize drill, you are going to win a Daria DY9 pistol. Now, if you haven't heard of them yet, you will. Now, just create your AccuShoot profile account at the Glock store, glockstore.com or shoot270.com. You pay $10 plus ammo if you need it. Then you pick your choice of 5 different shooting drills from mild to wild. Sounds like a lot of fun. That is the AccuShoot LFX event, Tuesday the 23rd to Saturday the 27th, and only at the Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. Whether you have old, drafty windows or cheap builder-grade windows, right now is the best time to replace your windows with my friends at Window Nation. Look, it's raining outside. Got some rain on the windowsill. It is time to call Window Nation. Protect your home ahead of the fall and winter weather. Get replacement windows right now from Window Nation. These are top quality, energy efficient windows from a trusted company, all at a reasonable price. Now, right now, they've got a great deal going on. Save big this month. You buy 2 windows, you are going to get 2 windows for free. I'm going to repeat that because it is a big deal. Save big this month. Buy 2 windows, you get 2 windows for free. Make no payments for 2 years. You don't have to deal with monthly payments, a down payment, or interest until 2027. By the way, this deal gets even better because right now, not only are you buying 2 windows, getting another 2 windows free, you also get an extra 10% off. Again, plus no interest for 2 years. This offer is only good until September 30th. So many reasons why I trust Window Nation, and those great deals, those ways to save you money are a big part. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Hello there. It is 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Border czar Tom Homan is in the media's focus after a report that said he accepted a bribe in order to land security contracts with the federal government. The White House, though, is saying that Homan never took a bag of cash containing $50,000.
Homan was allegedly caught on tape accepting a bag containing $50,000 in cash while agreeing to potentially help undercover agents obtain government contracts once Trump took office. Investigators were still working to determine whether Homan would have followed through, but the investigation was shut down by the Justice Department over the summer. Now, the White House says it was part of the weaponization of the Biden Justice Department, and the FBI says it found no credible evidence of wrongdoing.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. The White House also said Tom Homan has not been involved with any contract award decisions. Jimmy Kimmel gets his show back tonight.
Disney saying in a statement, last Wednesday we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday.
Now, that is ABC's Matt Gutman. That's the reporter you'll remember who framed Charlie Kirk's alleged killer's text messages as touching. Disney has not said that Kimmel's remarks were false, and Sinclair says its TV stations will still preempt Kimmel's show tonight. The co-founder of Mission Barbecue has announced that his son was one of 4 U.S. Army soldiers killed in a helicopter crash in Washington state. 39-year-old Andrew Krause was a member of a team that specializes in nighttime missions. Their Black Hawk helicopter crashed during a routine training mission. Mission Barbecue focuses on honoring U.S. service members with a long record of donating to charities that support the military. When President Trump addresses the UN General Assembly today, he'll stand his ground against many in the rest of the world when it comes to recognizing Palestine as a state.
About 150 heads of state will be gathered here in New York this week for the UN, and taking center stage, of course, the war between Russia and Ukraine, the conflict between Israel and Gaza. The president will be isolated from more than half of member nations, with support growing for Palestinian statehood. France, the latest country now to recognize the state of Palestine. The White House calling it a reward to Hamas.
Yeah, ABC's Rachel Scott there. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And after more gains on Wall Street yesterday, looks like a static start this morning. We've got the Dow futures plus 50, NASDAQ futures plus 2. S&P futures are down a point. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. We still have some lingering delays this morning, especially if you're talking about 24. It's still a mess in the Laverne area this morning after some serious accidents. 24 eastbound, they're still working the right shoulder at Shelby Avenue where it is blocked off by an accident. Also this morning, Highway 109, Central Pike at Lebanon. There's a crash in that area. 40, if you're heading eastbound, 40 westbound into Nashville is still quite jammed up this morning, and so is 65 heading north from the Franklin area all the way up. Hendersonville, you've got the closure continuing again today until 8 o'clock. Walton Ferry Road closed off Campus Drive to Cages Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, so this is pretty funny. 8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Apparently there was a bit of a situation last night, Joan, in New York.
Oh, yeah?
So apparently, French President Emmanuel Macron, his motorcade was stopped by New York police due to road closures because Trump's convoy was headed into the United Nations. So Macron was stuck in all of the road closures himself. He tried to call Donald Trump to request the roads be reopened. But after the call, he said, I guess I'm going to have to walk. And he walked through the streets of New York to the French embassy with his security detail.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, when the official presence is there, you don't mess with it.
Do you know what's so funny? Do you think the average American would even recognize Emmanuel
him?
Macron?
No. Isn't he, in my head, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems as though he's not in stature. He's not a very big guy.
You're like tall.
He's not tall. He's not.
Listen, Joan, it's okay.
He's
His
a
wife
shorty.
is a man,
Right.
and she can take care of him. He's according to Candace Owens. He's totally kidding.
Well, we know that she's got a good right jab.
A good hook.
Yeah.
A good hook when she hit him in the airplane.
We have conflicting measurements. Business Insider says he's 5'7". Dimensions.com says he's 5'10".
Okay, well, I'm 5'5", so that makes me feel really short, but whatever.
Well, I mean, our president's 6'4", so on a world stage, we're still representing.
And that's why he can stop all the traffic in New York. For
That's exactly
everybody
right.
else.
I think it's funny. I would love to hear that phone call between Trump and
Yeah.
Macron. If you know what, if Trump sees Emmanuel Macron is calling him, do you think he lets it go to voicemail?
Hello, you've reached Donald. I'm not taking calls at this time from your administration.
I don't know, but I do. I thought that was very funny. So Jimmy Kimmel is back tonight. Let's just go ahead and talk about that real quick. People are asking me, oh, by the way, can I just be a little ADD for a sec?
Okay.
So we did the whole thing on Trump and Tylenol.
Right.
I had a whole bunch of people send me a whole bunch of messages on either text message or direct message and so forth about Tylenol, because Make America Healthy Again, MAHA.
Yeah.
My friends within MAHA, and I've got many, are hitting me saying that MAHA has known for years that there is a link between Tylenol and autism. So in addition to what I presented, which is a whole bunch of studies that have said that there is a possible link between the two, MAHA has been they've known about this forever. Make America Healthy Again. They've known about this forever. So that's number one. And I got notes from a whole bunch of folks. But I also got this from a mom. You ready for this? Hey, Dan. I'm not going to say her name. Hey, Dan. I have 4 kids. My first 2 kids, I did not take Tylenol, and they don't have autism. My second set of kids, I took Tylenol, and both of them are autistic. So she says, for me, it could be true that Tylenol could be that link to autism. However, she says, my kids are amazing. It doesn't matter to me what caused it. The Lord knit them together in my womb, so I trust his will for my children.
Well, I love faithful people like that.
I do too. I told her I loved her attitude.
Yeah.
So anyway, and again, I will tell you that I trust MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. I trust those folks far more than I trust all the media outlets that are out there saying, there's no link. This is all unscientific. When you've got all of these different studies that are showing that there is a possible link. So
this has been going on for years and getting worse and worse and worse every single year. And Biden did zippity-doo-dah.
Oh.
Obama did zippity-doo-dah. So let's not.
Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, Joan. Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? I've done it again. My windows are rolled down and it's raining like heck outside.
Oh, no.
Do you know I've done this before? I did this years ago. My windows are rolled down and it's raining cats and dogs.
You mean in our parking lot right now?
In our parking lot. My windows apparently are rolled down.
Do you want me to take your keys and go do something?
Somebody's got to take Grandpa's keys. No, I'll you know what? My keys are in my locker. So there's nothing I can do.
You're going to.
Do you know what I had to do last time, Joan? We had an advertiser who, thank you, Leviticus, thank you very much. We had an advertiser who had to clear out my car, had to clean out my car, dry it up because it was so wet. I mean, this was a hellacious storm. And Doogie came in. Remember, well, you guys don't know Doogie. Doogie used to do traffic. And he walked in, and I was doing a show in some other city. And they walk in, and he says, hey, do you drive at the time it was a Jeep, do you drive a Jeep Patriot? And I'm like, yeah. And he says, well, your windows are rolled down. And I mean, this was like storm like you've never seen before. And so we had an advertiser, I forget who it was, but cleaned it right up. And it was really nice. They had to dry it and everything. But how do I do this? I've done it again. I don't know how I do this, but somehow I've left my windows rolled down again. And now, not only is my car going to stink to high heaven, it's going to be all wet. But you know that people are laughing at me in the hallways.
Oh,
you know, that's going on as well. And, of course, listeners are laughing at me as well.
Yeah, the YouTube chat immediately started spurring more messages about it.
You know what? I deserve this. Because when I get to work, I'm so... My wife will tell you this. Both wives will tell you this. That when I'm in a hurry, and I was running a little late today, when I'm in a hurry, I just jump right into the building as quickly as I can. But I don't know why my windows would be rolled down. So I don't know.
Did you? Yeah. When I came in, it was pouring like crazy. So it wasn't raining when you were coming in?
No, it wasn't. It was very slight. So my day has just been made.
Sure
anyway,
has.
I'm going to go to traffic. Say I can't go out there and roll my windows up for another 5 minutes. You know what? Here's the great thing for the bosses. This will be the one break that I actually take on time at 20 minutes after the hour. 8:15, time to check the roads on WTN. (8:15) Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I guess we also have flash flood warnings.
Yeah, flash flood warning just came in. People are probably getting it across their phones, too, through whatever weather app or anything they're connected to.
Apparently, there is a flash flood warning, Joan, in my car.
Yeah.
You know, I have something for that.
Wow. Okay. Enough. It's not funny. People are making fun of me on the super text line, too. It's all good. Hey, I think, did we take out another drug boat? I think there was another drug boat. This time it wasn't coming from Venezuela. It was coming from somewhere else. Will you look that up for me, Sam, real quick? So Trump apparently has taken out another boat. I think it was coming from Colombia.
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic. All right. So,
the Dominican Republic said it recovered cocaine from boat struck by the U.S.
Okay. Where was that boat originating from? Do we know?
We are looking.
Trump has taken out another drug boat. I love this. Marco Rubio was, looks like he was on CBS this morning, and he talked about how, you know what? We will take out these boats. I love Marco Rubio.
Because interdiction doesn't work. You want to stop these drug cartels, you have to make clear to them they're not going to get their boats here. Interdiction, they don't care about losing a boat. They don't care about losing some drugs. They've already factored that into their business model. What will stop them completely is that they know if they go out there, they're not going to make the journey. Look, this is an imminent, immediate threat to the United States. If you tell me there's a boat full of drugs headed towards the United States, to drop off drugs here and poison our people. That's as big a threat as if some, country was coming in to attack an American city. It needs to be stopped. The way it's been handled in the past hasn't worked. And boy, let me tell you something. You're not seeing nearly as many boats right now as you were a couple weeks ago. So it has worked and it will continue to work. And the president's very simple. He's not going to continue to allow these drug cartels to flood America with poisonous drugs that are killing our people indefinitely.
There's a reason. I'm just telling you, friends, there is a reason why, and we were sharing it earlier with you, there's a reason why the American people trust Donald Trump more and Republicans more with crime. And that's the bottom line. And for me, I think that almost every single action that Donald Trump does, this is the great thing about the news cycle today. The great thing about everything that Donald Trump does is it has the left has the complete opposite reaction. So when everything that you do, like trying to protect Americans by shutting down the border or take out Venezuelan drug boats coming from other parts of the world as well, and you've got the Democrats, talking about how, this is something an authoritarian would do. Okay, fine. Then let the president be an authoritarian by their definition, but he'll be protecting the American people. By the way, now we're ADD because I'm really worried about my car, which I left the windows down in case you're just joining us. Thankfully, I believe it stopped raining now, but this is going to be bad. Kamala Harris in her first live television interview since the November 2024 election loss. So, Joan, I guess it is her first long-form television interview.
Oh, okay.
Hard-hitting interview with Rachel Maddow.
Maybe I've seen her just speaking because she spoke about her book before.
She did.
So maybe that wasn't just a long-form interview.
So the question about her culpability in Joe Biden staying in the race, right? Yeah. Because remember, one of the things, and we mentioned this earlier, was that she is saying that Biden was reckless for not dropping out sooner. We talked about that. That is apparently going to be in her book. And I did ask the question, well, Kamala, what about you? What about your culpability? Because you were the vice president and you and the rest of the Democrats should have said something, but you didn't. This is the Democrats' issue. This is, by the way, what she told MSNBC and Rachel Maddow about Joe Biden sticking in the race.
When I write this, it's because I realize that I have and had a certain responsibility that I should have followed through on. Where my head was at the time is that it would come off as being completely self-serving.
If you said to President Biden that you did not think he should run again.
Yeah, or even that he should question whether it's a good idea.
All right, so, but what's the excuse for the entire Democrat Party? So here's the bottom line is, with everything that we've talked about with Kamala's book, is that it was one bad decision after another. It was, what's the best way to say this? Bad judgment. She exhibited poor judgment every step of the way. I don't buy that at all, by the way. Neither did Josh Shapiro, by the way. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro said Kamala Harris is going to have to answer for not publicly raising concerns about former President Joe Biden's fitness to do the job before the 2024 presidential election, telling Stephen A. Smith in an interview to be released that her silence needs explaining. Absolutely right. Telling Smith, I have not read the former vice president's book, but he did say that Kamala Harris is going to have to answer for how she was in the room and yet never said anything publicly. And I think it is obvious that she lied. She clearly lied. Shapiro, the story continues, who was among a short list of candidates for vice president under Kamala Harris before she picked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, added that he voiced his own doubts privately to Biden's team. So Josh Shapiro is literally admitting that he knew that Biden was cognitively dissolving, and he chose not to say anything either. And I'd be willing to bet that there is audio out there of Josh Shapiro saying that Joe Biden is sharp as a tack. So when we go into the 2028 presidential campaign, we've got audio from Kamala Harris and Josh Shapiro and Gavin Newsom, all of them, lying to the American people about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. So Shapiro can't just go after Kamala Harris. He's got his own culpability in all of this. So if Joe Biden was reckless, then what do you call Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, or Josh Shapiro? It seems to me like they were reckless too. He actually says, Josh Shapiro actually says, I told them my concerns. Well, Josh, then why didn't you tell your concerns to the Washington Post, the New York Times, or the American people? At least George Clooney had the testicular fortitude to call BS on Joe Biden. 8:22, time to find out from Joan what is coming up in the news at 8:30.
Yeah, one of Tennessee's biggest contractors is being investigated for its hiring practices. Also want to let you know that an activation has been requested from the National Service. Some flash flooding. We'll detail all of that coming up here in the news at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. DT McCall's. Listen, this is a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value as well. I've been telling you for years about these folks at DT McCall's. They've been helping people out for 3 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. This is my go-to for indoor furniture and appliances as well. I have bought both. Appliances, if it plugs in, they've got it. They've always got specials going on as well to save you money. Indoor furniture, if you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. Go to the front page of their website. It's dtmccalls.com. They've got specials and great prices on all the best brands of appliances like washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, and a whole lot more. Find them online, dtmccalls.com. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Again, dtmccalls.com. Dan Mandis here, 826, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've been a customer of Xfinity for years and years. You should be as well. It's a great company, great customer service. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed you need. And you can count on a reliable connection for all your devices, even when everyone is online. In my house, you've got me working downstairs, doing shows, doing show prep, etc. Now doing videos as well. Amy is working upstairs, and Riker is, of course, doing what he does in his room, homework, gaming, you name it. Now, to get started for you, call them, visit Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. That is Xfinity.com. The Wi-Fi is booming once again. To get started, call them, find them online, Xfinity.com. Drop into an Xfinity store today. Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming. All right. That commercial was crap. I am out of breath because you know what happened, Joan? I got to give them a make good. I'm breathing heavily because I locked myself out of the building.
Dan, oh my gosh. You went out to rescue your car because your windows were open while it's raining, right?
Yes.
So you got out the door and you forgot the key to get back in the building?
And then I come back in and I'm locked out.
Oh my God.
The Wi-Fi may be booming, but Dan's speed was not.
And then I sit down and Sam says you've got 5 minutes before 5 seconds before your Xfinity spot. And so I'm like, oh my God. So this has not been.
You all make good.
I do. I'll talk to sales.
Dan?
I'm sure that people love listening on the radio to me breathing heavily through a commercial. I feel like I owe everyone an apology. But anyway, here's the bad news.
Yeah.
My car is soaked.
Oh.
My car is just drenched. I left. For people that don't know, I was in mid-monologue, and Leviticus came in and told me that I had left my car window rolled down. I don't know how I did that. So it's raining cats and dogs here, probably a couple of deer and buffalo too. And so all of that water is, so we're talking about a flood warning or whatever it was.
A flash flood warning.
A flash flood warning. There's a flash flood watch in my, in the back of my car.
Gonna have some wet cheeks later.
Yes, indeed. That's all right. Listen, I'm blessed, and worse things have happened in my life, certainly. So I'll figure out how to get everything dried up. Anyway, it is 8:29. All right, we're gonna kind of start the 8 o'clock hour over again. Joan's got the news coming up right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and I want to tell you about that flash flood warning. It's for northwestern Giles County, east central Lewis County, southwestern Murray County this morning, and this exists until 11:15 a.m. They're finding that some of the thunderstorms that have moved through have caused some flash flooding. You'll want to be aware, of course, of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, all of that with poor drainage. Again, a flash flood warning in those areas until 11:15 this morning. The storms have moved out of that area, thankfully. Tennessee's Attorney General has opened a civil investigation into alleged DEI practices at Deloitte, one of the state's largest contractors. Vanderbilt law professor Brian Fitzpatrick tells News 2 that investigators want to know if Deloitte had specific numbers of Black, Latino, or other categories of employees that it targeted for hiring.
And then they're going to look to see what did the employer do to try to meet those targets. Did they say, let's only interview Black people this year? Let's only interview Latinos this year? Did they say things like that internally? If they did, then they could be in some big trouble.
Yeah, if it's proved, the state may file a lawsuit against Deloitte. Happening today in Murfreesboro, the police department holds a press conference on a long-term investigation that's led to the indictment of 33 people. This began after a fentanyl overdose death in 2023 and included 9 law enforcement agencies. Dozens of mourners gathering in Charlotte, North Carolina last night, a vigil for the Ukrainian refugees stabbed to death on a train. Residents highly critical of their city leaders.
The Lord took her in his heavenly arms and took her home. She got promoted that night. But here we sit in a city that is falling apart, and the time to act was yesterday.
Irina Zarutska was 23 years old. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Opening bell, and now the Dow Jones Industrials plus 134. We've got the NASDAQ down 8 and the S&P down just a fraction. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
8:32, Dan Mandis here for USS United Structural Systems. I've been telling you for years about USS. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. It is raining. It is raining very hard outside, and so what you need to do, go down into your basement, go down into your crawl space, and see if you've got moisture. If you do, then you need to call USS for some waterproofing. Now, this is a great company. They've helped me with my home several times, and that is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. I'm one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review on Google. Guy says at USS, they were highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own home. And yes, indeed, he does give United Structural Systems 5 stars all the way. USS, they won't charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done and you're a satisfied customer. They can help you with basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, and foundation repair. We guarantee our best. Call USS at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. The Wellness Institute of Nashville, Dan Mandis here. You know, they are right now in the middle of a great special for the month of September. For $12, you are going to get a comprehensive exam, x-rays if needed, well-explained diagnosis, and your first treatment, all for just $12. That's right. Now, this special is going to end soon, but listen, if you have back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness in the weakness in the arms and legs, fingers and toes, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they can help you with their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. No surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. So give them a call and take advantage of that $12 special comprehensive exam, x-rays if needed, well-examined, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
We've got a crash in Whites Creek this morning on 24, the eastbound lanes at Old Hickory Boulevard North, exit 40. Watch it. Drivers are getting past that problem this morning on the shoulder. The through lanes are blocked off. Opryland, Briley Parkway northbound at McGavock Pike. You've got a crash in the left lane that looks like a spin out of an SUV. Lebanon, Highway 109 at Central Pike. There's an accident. East Bank, 24 eastbound side at Shelby Avenue. A crash blocks the right shoulder. Also on 65 northbound lanes in Madison before Due West Avenue overpass, an accident there. Metro Center 65 north at Rosa Parks Boulevard, an accident at exit 85. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.836 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. By the way, Chris Hand is, I guess, stuck in traffic with all the miserable traffic things going on right now.
Mason Fleming, too.
His car's floating down 24.
I didn't realize the rain was going to be this bad this morning. Did you, Joan?
Well, I mean,
we had storms off and on predicted, so I guess I should have known.
You should have known to roll up your windows.
You know, people are like ridiculing me on the super text line. It's like, Dan, well, first of all, if people noticed that your window was down,
right?
Why didn't they roll it back up? Well, this isn't the 1970s. You don't have a handle thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They made those well into the 90s.
Oh, do they?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in any event, they need the keys to roll up my windows. So
Super Texture 2531 wanted to know if USS works on vehicles.
Yeah, when he was reading that, he looked at me through the glass. It's raining, and I about fell out of the chair.
It sure is. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I have not even checked my phone to see what kind of ridicule my wife has hit me with this morning.
Oh, come on. She probably understands.
That is just, she understands because she lives with me. Oh, she's not listening. Good. Yeah, because Amy is the first one to send me a note ridiculing me if I do something dumb like I did this morning. Mm-hmm. And of course, again, I never learn because I've done this before.
So she doesn't know?
Amy, no. And don't tell her.
Amy.
I'm talking on the radio. Don't text her.
Why?
Joan Jones.
We're friends.
Are you, Joan? I thought you and I were closer. You're going to tell my wife the stupidity that I did because clearly she's got other stuff. Oh, she's in a meeting. She's in a meeting. Anyway, hey, let's have some fun with Brandon Johnson. All right, so we all know Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago. And this is what he said. And I've not heard this yet, Joan. But apparently he said this about jails and incarceration. Listen to this.
The fact of the matter is we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities. The fact of the matter is...
he just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Isn't crime a sickness? To use his analogy, crime is the sickness and jails and incarceration are the medicine, right?
When you cannot behave in a proper and polite society, you have to be removed from the proper and polite society and placed in a place where you can learn a lesson.
Well, and here's the deal. The problem that Brandon Johnson has is that his words don't carry any water because his city is crime-ridden. His city is absolutely crime-ridden. And so now, and you've got all kinds of people commenting on this. And let's not forget that this is the same guy that said, do not come to Chicago when he was talking about President Trump and the...
oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a reason. There is a reason why Republicans are more trusted with crime than Democrats. It is so crazy that they don't see this. And
isn't it true that if a criminal is behind bars, they're not on the streets creating crime?
Right.
It's
like if you see a fire in your kitchen, put it out.
Well, according to Jasmine Crockett, committing a crime doesn't make you a criminal.
Right. Yes.
I mean, isn't that a good analogy, though? Like, if there's a fire in your kitchen, put it out. If there are criminals running the streets, then put them in jail.
If there's rain coming down, put your windows up.
Am I ever going to live this down?
No. Mm-mm. No.
You think I'm going to end up as Murphy's nincompoop in the news?
Oh, I'm going to submit it.
Why don't you do that, Joan? Go ahead and just rub it in. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to dry it out. Like, last time, I forget the advertiser that helped me out last time. I can't remember who it was, but somebody helped me out last time because I don't want my car to smell. You know what I mean? Like
you need zero res.
I don't know if I don't think zero res does cars. I don't think they do cars. They do homes.
Yeah.
But, and it's funny because it reminds me when my daughter, I've told this story before, when my daughter, we all had junker cars when I was, younger, in my 40s and 50s, whatever. I gave my daughter my car, right? Yeah. My Toyota Tercel. And I just kind of passing down the cars. I gave her my beloved Toyota Camry that I drove for years. And my last thing that I said to her was, honey, take care of my Camry. You think she took care of the Camry?
Not based on that.
At the age of 16?
Oh, no.
No.
So you know what she would do? She would buy, I kid you not, she would buy like milk-based coffee products.
Oh.
And it would it would spill in the back seat. Like she'd leave a little bit in the back seat.
Yeah.
She had science experiments growing in her car.
I bet that smelled great.
And she's like, Dad, I don't...
No, she didn't.
She said, she did. She said, Dad, I don't know why my car smells. And I said, I don't know, honey. It's been a long time since I've given you that car. I mean, have you looked around the car? Well, so I go in to her car. And I will say that I was like this at 16 too. But there's like layers of like stuff. And so I start, like just trying to undig, trying to pinpoint the smell. And I kid you not, there was growth. There was something growing in the backseat of her car.
That's gross.
Because she had a little carpet, in there. Mm. And stuff was growing in the back of her car. I said, honey, you got stuff growing back there.
Yeah, you gotta treat that stuff quickly.
It was the funniest. I mean, I was very upset at the time. Very upset. But we cleaned it up, and that was a big, almost an all-day project. And so I now need to make sure that, because you know what? I hate to say it. Joan, is your car clean or dirty right now?
Oh, it's clean.
Is it clean?
Yeah.
Sam?
That's pretty clean.
Is it pretty clean? Define pretty clean.
I mean, I don't have any food causing bacterial or fungal growth anywhere.
My daughter gets it honest. If you looked at my car right now, do you know what you would see?
The beginnings of mildew?
No, I would not see the beginnings of mildew. But you know what you would see?
Rivers, floods.
Besides that, yes.
Okay.
Whole bunch of old Starbucks coffee cups.
Really? Yeah.
That's what you would see in my back seat. That's one of the reasons why I actually didn't, and in my car. That's one of the reasons I didn't want Leviticus, who was kind enough to say, give me the keys, I'll go down and all.
Yeah, you were embarrassed
I'm
by that?
embarrassed because my car's a mess.
I would be too. Dan, so let me get it straight. You finish a cup of coffee, and then you just toss it over your shoulder into the back seat?
It depends on how much room there is.
How old are you, Dan?
I'd rather not say. How old am I, or how old do I act sometimes?
Well, okay. Yeah,
there are times when I'm 16 years old, and sometimes I won't toss it over the shoulder. I'll just, kind of put it in the back, and then I'm gonna, throw it away when I get home. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I forget, and then I forget, and then I forget.
And the next day.
And then my wife was like, good Lord, how much coffee do you drink? And it's unfortunately a lot. So anyway, why are we talking about this again? Oh, because of my anyway, whatever.
Is there something that we should know about?
I'm addicted to coffee.
Apple?
Apple? What are you talking about? Apple?
Amy asked me.
Amy asked you, Apple? No. Oh. So you know what happened to me one time? I'm driving to work. Oh, God. Okay.
This is fun. I love this.
You know what?
Yeah,
I don't
go
like
ahead.
when you and my wife talk, Joan. I'm driving to work. I'm eating an apple on the way to work. I thought my window was rolled down.
Oh.
And so I go to throw the apple core away, and it slams into the inside of my car window and ends up in my back seat. And I sat there with that apple glob on my window for far too long. And finally, Amy says, what is that on your window? And I said, I have no idea, honey. Then she finds the apple core in the back seat.
Yeah.
And then it all came rushing back where I had tried to throw the apple, because, those are biodegradable. You know what I mean?
I throw apple cores out, yeah, and banana peel. Yeah,
and banana
totally
peels, all
get
right.
it.
But then I'd completely forgotten about it. And so she kept at she's like, she'd been in my car a couple of times. She finally asked, what is this smear on your car window on the inside? I honest to goodness, I had no idea. And then we go to the car wash, and it had to be like 2 weeks old, this apple core. But you know what was nice, though? I liked the smell of apples, and it was almost like an apple air freshener in my car.
Sure.
What time of year was it? It makes a difference.
It was earlier this year. Yeah. It's springtime. It's springtime. Yeah.
So it wasn't providing like a cooked apple smell in your car.
No, just a nice. In fact, it's funny because I remembered now that I'm thinking back to all of this. I'm remembering now that I would get in my car and it would smell a little bit like apple. And I'm like, I don't even have an air freshener. There was one point I thought that my lovely wife had actually, kind of surreptitiously, secretly put an apple-scented air freshener in my car. And I said, that's very sweet of you, honey. Thank you for doing that. Where is it? And she's like, I didn't put an apple air freshener in your car.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah.
I think this is the part where I start shame spiraling again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, whatever. You know what? My car's going to smell pretty rancid once that water starts, drying up and it's in my, I've luckily these days I've got leather seats. So all you got to do is wipe off the leather seats, right? Because if you're leather seats, the water doesn't matter.
So do you have electronic windows that the controls are on the door panel?
Yeah.
Well,
but they rolled up. But everything rolled up fine.
Mm-hmm. Today.
Yeah, you're right. We'll have to.
Sometimes it takes a little while for the water to seep in, and
it does actually. I've noticed that the last time this happened. So anyway, moving right along. I'm sure this conversation is fascinating to everyone. My multiple foibles as a man, a husband, and a father.
Yeah. But we love those things about you.
You know what?
Yeah.
At least I'm not Jimmy Kimmel.
That's right.
All right, so he is coming, just very quickly, he's coming back tonight. So all those people that said he got fired, see, I always said he's been suspended. He has not yet been fired because they're looking at his contract to figure out if they can fire him for cause. Now, people are commenting that maybe he's coming back because they could not figure out how to fire him for cause, and he was going to bring a lawsuit. The Sinclair stations, his affiliates have said, we don't want him back. And so we're going to see what he does tonight. The Disney, his syndicator, actually said the reason we pulled him off the air had nothing to do with the FCC. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump. The reason we pulled him off the air was because he was saying inflammatory things.
They didn't say he was lying, if you noticed.
I love how that's been in the newscast every time I've heard about it from Joan Jones.
Yeah, they said that it was inflammatory, but not a lie.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great observation. He clearly, as everyone knows, if you've been paying attention to the storyline, he lied about the shooter of Charlie Kirk.
Well, and the defense has become that, the joke was misinterpreted, that it's because MAGA has been adamantly denying that he's a member. That's the joke. I never said he was. No, you imply it with what you're saying and the fact that they're not coming out and, calling you out on that.
How is that a joke anyway?
It's not a joke.
That's not even a joke. That's not even funny. Me leaving my car window open in the middle of a rainstorm is funnier than that.
By leaps.
True.
By leaps and bounds. The activists, I think it was probably maybe the leftist activists and the worry about a lawsuit. Maybe that's why Disney has decided to bring him back. It's not the ratings. Part of what's going to happen, he's coming back. And his pants, I'm sorry for this, folks, but his pants have been pulled down. We have found out that his ratings are terrible. It's not making money. The local affiliates have a big-time problem and have had a big-time problem with Jimmy Kimmel's content for quite some time. So he's going to, I don't know, his attitude is going to be interesting when he comes back on the air tonight. What he actually says.
I'd like to know how ABC is making this work financially, because we already know that, he averages, 1.1 million listeners. Yep. He was the third lowest rated nighttime show.
So is there three, right?
Yeah, so
There's three.
Colbert actually had higher ratings than him, and they're taking him off the air.
Right.
So Jimmy Kimmel, he's a liability.
Yes.
He's a liability on many fronts. Now, he's going to get a lot of listeners, a lot of viewers tonight, because everybody will want to see what he's saying. He might even get a lot of listeners for the rest of this week.
We might even get, I'm sorry if you were offended.
I doubt it.
The ABC affiliates are saying to Jimmy Kimmel and his syndicator, we need a full-on apology, full stop. That's what we need. You need to apologize to Charlie Kirk's family, and you need to give a sizable donation to Turning Point USA. That's what they want from Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I don't think that Kimmel will do that, but that's what the affiliate stations through Sinclair, that's what they're asking for. And I think that his contract is due up in May. I think it's May of 2026. So we'll have to see what happens. But I can almost guarantee that he will not be renewed because he just seems like such a malcontent, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And he's not funny. Even when I've watched clips to see if he's got any humor about him, I can't find anything. I mean, his humorous days have long been gone.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, Joan, what's coming up in the news?
There's a plot to take down cellular communication in one of this country's biggest cities. Also, it's time to tune up your weather radio. Details on how to do that before the bad weather season arrives. Those stories at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at Stoltzco, a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. You know, they build pole barns. They build great pole barns. And these pole barns, they can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, maybe even barn dominiums. That's right. Pole barns that you can live in. And these days, you go through Stoltzco, they are new and improved. Stoltzco is now offering you turnkey options. And that means that they handle the design, the construction, and, yes, the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key, and, yes, you are home. And right now, they also offer storm shelters to keep you and your family safe. Now, your new pole barn from Stoltzco can be used for, again, anything. They're really flexible. If you've got some land that needs a building for whatever you want, call my friends at Stoltzco, 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. For Stoltzco, you can also find them on Instagram and Facebook to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. Stoltzco, Stoltzco.com.